izkümkü, idüze oroduyu iveriku. Uronora.
Inomotu otunum isarapea. Au kunana awisi Ueda kunam.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to episode 4 of Fumito Ueda podcast. I am your regular host, Albert, and today I am joined by two co-hosts, Logan, my regular co-host, and our guest for this show, Naz, the sculptress or sculptor. Introduce yourself, Naz.
How's it going, guys? My name's Naz, or Nazi Goring, and I'm a freelance artisan from Queensland, Australia.
Fantastic.
So we have another Australian in the chat.
Indeed, fantastic. We're like a big hugging Australian sandwich hugging the US in the middle. What's up?
Yeah.
Speaking of which,
That's nice.
that's right. Speaking of which, Mr. Logan, please introduce yourself, my friend.
Yeah, hey, I'm Logan. I'm the regular co-host. That's that. And I'm here. It's like 3:30 a.m. for me, but I'm feeling pretty good. So yeah, I'm ready to get right into it, and I'm glad to be back after a couple weeks where we weren't really recording, because the YouTube channel has just been growing so exponentially.
Yeah, it's
Growing
crazy.
pains.
Yes, that's right, and the network itself. So we've added a few shows and everything, but now, as of today, literally, I've sort of moved things around with schedules and such that there won't pretty much ever be any sort of delays and stuff again. And this transition into the new recording setup has been, yeah, as you said, a bit of growing pains, but that's to be expected. And we're tracking really well, and I'm really looking forward to getting started with sort of the instead of those our first three episodes of those were really, and Nick Sutner gave us sort of his blessing into continuing our show, and getting started on this sort of journey, which I'll sort of touch on our interview a little bit there with yourself, Naz. But needless to say, I'm happy to kind of properly we're out of the Shire, and that's it. We've got
there.
Exactly. So we've walked a couple Ks, but now the open road lies before us. So
The Nazgul will
Oh!
pursue.
the Naz is pursuing us. What is up? I dig
Oh,
it.
yeah. I didn't even think of that. That's funny. Okay.
Sorry, I had to do that. But yeah, needless to say, also Naz, because I do respect how everyone wants to be sort of the sort of terminology and such, and I encountered this, my girlfriend, she wants there's a certain way to sort of the title that one is given, and I just say she does emotional intelligence work. There's a specific wording, so needless to say, I want to say that with how you said artisan, I'll make sure to edit around, because I don't want to I said sculptor, sculptress, but this is all going to be edited out. But is that so? Do you want to take that one again, or are you happy with being called a sculptor?
Sculptor's fine. Honestly, there's about 50 different labels for what I do. So
That's fantastic.
Some people would call me a plushie maker, or a
Yay!
seamstress, or a sculptor, or all sorts of things. So I'm not precious about what label we use, sort of thing. So
fantastic. Well, I will crack on with the rest of the intro, but before I do, I'll quickly just mention. So Naz has not merely created these amazing artisan crafts, as I'll call them, of sculptors, which just completely swept me off when I just saw her Instagram channel, your Instagram channel, well, third person referring to each other, but no, I was telling in the pre-show that it's actually a trico. It's not a sculpture. This thing that you've made, individually feathered, needless to say, I'm building this up, listeners, but she's made this incredibly beautifully alive trico sculpture, which we're going to dive all the way into that as I sort of close out the intro. So I just figured I'd leave that tease. So the artist Fumito Ueda, who created Eco, Shadow of the Colossus, and The Last Guardian, is currently leading his new studio, Gen Design, in developing a new title, The Girl and the Sleeping Giant, as we've come to call it. Each week, we chronicle the creation of this forthcoming adventure in the form of weekly news, informed and wild speculation, analyses, and more. Interwoven with reporting on and breaking down any and all new developments, we are also revisiting Ueda's first 3 titles, starting with The Shadow of the Colossus, followed by Eco, and concluding with The Last Guardian. In doing so, we endeavor to compile a fully comprehensive archive of material, long-form, in-depth analyses and discussions on each character, creature, and location, personal stories from fellow appreciators of Ueda's work, interviews, theories, interpretations, and much, much more. The time has come for Mr. Ueda's unmatched and inimitable form of ongoing storytelling, world building, and overall contribution to the artistic validity and power of this medium, the most profoundly moving and life-affirming art form ever, to receive a thorough, intimate, and loving chronicle, now and for posterity, from the very community that has so embraced, cherished, celebrated, and resonated with the man, his team, and their work for close to 2 decades. We wish to thank you for the privilege of your time in listening in and joining us on this adventure. With that regular rundown out of the way, let's get the show started. Fantastic, and so the mood has been set. We are in Fumito Ueda mode. We can relax, exactly. Awesome, so let's do a quick little round table. Naz, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Do you feel welcomed? Shall I get you anything? I'm kidding. There you go.
Drive down and or drive up. Whereabouts are you?
That's right. That's hilarious. We'll take your coat and everything. Logan, you do know that the plan eventually is to get the actual studio happening. You know, get all the trappings and bells and whistles that you got your kind of funnies, you got your Rooster Teeth people. Yeah. It's totally that's not the eye rolly kind of goal. It really is what we want to.
Hey, if others can do it, then there's no reason you can't.
Absolutely, and it'll just be the rub. The twist will be it's not outright anti-millennium or anti-millennial or anti-short format, which is where everything is heading. But needless to say, Naz, it's basically that's how interactive artistry got started. Is that it's the kind of a place where you can just literally just feel free to go as in depth, like as much as you want, to the point where we obviously don't want to do it to a fault, to like a detrimental, like going 6-7 hours, but the idea is like a lot of much of what's being put out there I don't personally like the word content. You can use it if you like, but much of the content being put out there is very much in the sort of, it's like tailored to certain demographics of like, people will turn off the thing if it's 10 minutes long or keep it to an hour. It's like we really are just like quietly like an old man who, like after, or an old woman, at a certain age when you're backing out of the driveway, you just don't look anymore. I just don't care. I don't look at like how long we've been, and that's why again it's never a pressure on any of my co-hosts, including Logan tonight, who is joining us from the US. 3 a.m. it is there, so I'm just going to ask a bunch of random people who are listening now to give you a little mini round of applause, which I'll join you in.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah, legend. Appreciate it. Awesome. So long story short, which is apt because I'm talking about how long-winded we tend to be unapologetically. Welcome to the show, and just breathe. Just like talk as long as you like, go into as many tangents as you like. That's kind of the space that we are here at Interactive Artistry, Naz.
That's a dangerous offering.
Oh no, that's it. We have a tangent taker on our hands.
Get me talking about my favorite games, and you might just.
That's amazing. Well, speaking of which, thank you for the segue. Now, speaking of favorite games, what is your relationship with Fumito Ueda's works, and how did you first encounter them?
The first game I played, like a lot of people, was Shadow of the Colossus. I think I would have been about 12 at the time. I was still quite young. And I remember getting the game for Christmas, and my sister and I both used to, when we were young, play games together, and that was sort of our bonding time. So I was sort of the brawn and she was the brains, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I
Our
did that with
experience.
that's right. Yeah, with my siblings as well. And Logan, you did the same, like playing the games together with the siblings. You team up
Uh,
and help each other.
well, I do have a fraternal twin brother, but it was a more interesting relationship where I was a much bigger gamer than he was. But whenever there was one thing that I couldn't figure out, he could always figure it out. Even though in
Oh,
many aspects he wasn't really as nearly as good at most things in gaming. Whatever it was, if there was just something I was having trouble with, he would always have a suggestion, and he was always end
nice.
up being right. So that was very interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, please continue, Naz.
Yeah, so we would usually do that sort of thing. We would pick a game, and one of us would get to play, and the other would sort of be the sort of backseat driver sort of thing. But
Mm.
we played that game, and we were quite young, and we just thought it was the most amazing thing ever. And I still think it's one of the most amazing games ever.
Hmm.
My sister went on to play Eco, and I watched her play that game. And then I think, I'm not sure how long ago it was quite a long time ago when The Last Guardian was originally teased.
Oh yeah.
And ever since I saw that teaser, I've just been just waiting for The Last Guardian to come out with such enthusiasm. So it's
Yeah.
been a long wait. So that was that was pretty awesome to be waiting for it since the first teasers. So
That's
yeah.
awesome. It sounds like you're cut from the same cloth as Logan as I. We were doing very much the same thing, weren't we, Logan?
Yeah. I mean, luckily I didn't have to quite wait from the first teaser, but we were waiting a long while.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, I must echo the same your sentiment there, Naz. Is that when I saw it, it was I don't know, it was a particularly. I also a little bit of I should probably correct myself, because for those listeners who Logan actually did this for me, which I really the errata for episode 1, I kept saying 2007, 2007. It was actually the
Mm.
first teaser. I believe it was 2009.
Mhm.
Or like late 2008 or something. And
I
yeah,
believe it was '09.
oh no, yeah. So like
Yeah.
redact that,
Sounds
and
about
yeah, when I like master and like do the HD remaster of all the episodes, I'll chuck a George Lucas and correct that like one word. I won't be that proactive. You know I won't be, Logan. You know me. But needless to say, no, I very much resonate with that, Naz. And what was it in particular that drew you to our our subject for today, which is the very first Colossus? Is there a particular little tease? We're going to dive into obviously symbology, name, and everything as the main body of this episode. But what is your kind of hot take on Valis, the very first Colossus?
It has been so long since I played this game that I need to play the remake.
Yeah.
But I guess I was quite young when I first played it, so I was just in awe. And it's funny watching playthroughs now of adults playing the game,
Yeah.
and they can defeat a Colossus in 15 minutes or however long it takes. But I remember it taking days to finish as a kid, and I guess some of them were easier than others, but I remember it was sort of back before I was sort of on the internet as an adult, and
Yeah.
I didn't know that I could just type in how to defeat blah 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 Colossus, and I would get frustrated with some of them, and I might stop playing for weeks because I just couldn't figure it out. So
For
yeah.
sure. Oh my goodness. Yeah. And how about yourself, Logan? Your quick little, just your mini vignette of your relationship with Valis and what you reckon of the impression.
Yeah, I think my very first experience is kind of hazy, because that was just the very first time I played the game back in 2005, which I kind of wasn't like the important playthrough for me was the PS3 playthrough, which I
Right.
think I kind of mentioned before here. So the first playthrough was just kind of um is really just a far off memory. But I
Yeah.
know I really liked Valis. It's probably my favorite Colossus for a little while, because I didn't get to Pelagia until I played on PS3, so he couldn't have been my favorite because I haven't gotten to him yet. Um, so Valis is kind of cute.
Yeah.
And
He is a bit adorable, isn't he?
yeah, and of course, that's just a great. I mean, not only is the actual cinematic intro to the game perfect, but in general, you can probably consider everything up until you beat Valish to be sort of the intro segment of the game, and all of that is super well designed. I mean, from the way he comes in from the right, um and moves into that, moves kind of far away from you, and you can see his whole body and there, and it's a really, really amazing introduction to what these things are.
Very evocative. Yeah, definitely. So yeah, there you go, listeners. That's kind of what we're going to dive into in terms of our main topic there for this episode. So, but what I'll do is we do, as much as I did mention earlier that we and I tend to mention it pretty much on all of our podcasts, like in an unscheduled way. I just sort of dive into it. But yeah, we do have a structure here, so I call it sort of a wide linear approach to the show. So I'll state it, even though we regularly deviate from it, but we'll just do it symbolically anyway. So we have our sort of weekly catch-up, which we're going to dive into now. An overview of the week's episode, which we're kind of sort of essentially doing as well. Naz, I don't know if you have heard any of the other podcasts, either from the network Interactive Artistry or for this particular show, but I tend to say that like where other shows are like a series of courses that like people bring, one meal after another, like our shows tend to just like have everything kind of almost mixed in like a cake, and like each episode is like a freshly baked cake. Yeah, exactly. So
I love cake, so I can complain.
Yay! Further confirmation that I am I've already become an old woman, and I'm just like a tattooed grandma that lives by the sea. That's basically who I am. Yes. Anyway, so after that, after the overview, we'll dive into a bit of news, which for a while we expect there to be not many because they're just working away at it. I think we're expecting, Logan and I have been speculating that because of the like postcard tease and definitely what's been revealed with the sort of splash image at gendesign.co.jp, that we could be seeing something maybe at the faintest teaser, I would say, at E3 this year. So we'll do that, and also we have to obviously get Naz's thoughts on where the new game might go and all that. So then we'll have a quick Reddit rundown. So we'll jump on sort of our birthplace, which is where I found the awesome Uman the Inimitable, aka Logan.
Wow, nice memory there.
Yeah, I dig it. No, for sure. Pals, like kindred people make impressions. That's how it is. And so we'll do that, and then we'll each pick out. It's totally up to you, Naz, if you want to, if you have the Reddit in front of you, to sort of, if you wanted to highlight, and we can give any, just like creators like yourself, people who put like high effort posts, we'll sort of talk about their sort of work, and what that does is it kind of, they may, on the off chance that they hear the show, they can hear themselves and just be like, "Whoa!" A little bit of a shout out there. So that again, the whole thing is to kind of showcase the community of folks who so appreciate and resonate with the man and his work and his team's work for sure. So after that, we'll have our main topic, and then supporter shout outs, which. This is the running joke, is every time I am in the overview, as I am right now, I stop the show, and as soon as the first mention of supporters is made, I have to immediately go to the Patreon, as I'm doing right now. And we just had an $8 patron join, Mr. Andrew, yes, jumping on the $8 tier. I know, which is so kindred and kind. And Naz, I'll just throw it to you. The feeling of someone recognizing your work, it's hard to find words for it, isn't it?
Yeah. A big part of my job is all my pay comes through Patreon, so I totally understand.
Shout
It
out.
sort of means so much when you see it. Yeah,
just to get that ping, and shout out to everyone supporting Naz for her phenomenal work as well. Need to say that off the bat, because her work is one of the most, like, I just came off of art school where I won't name names, but needless to say, some of it's just Naz and I and Logan, we could probably talk for an entire other show, another whole dedicated podcast to like the nature of art and what should be considered art. But let's just say a lot of low effort crap is often ends up with high price tags and with the exposure that it just frankly doesn't deserve. Again, we're all entitled to our opinions as long as we're respectful of one another. And to see Naz's work being supported the way it is such an affirmation that yes, like Patreon is one of the best ways for just the universe for justice in the universe, is like worthwhile creators getting their due. So, and Naz embodies that for sure. And we take a moment to sort of congratulate Naz on how far she's going, and we hope that for sure that things are progress for you, Naz. Go for it, Logan.
I'm looking at Naz's Patreon right now, and I gotta say I love this post from June 2017. But I don't know if there's an update on this, and maybe we can talk about it because obviously I want to
go
what is this?
Get into the whole Trico thing, but there's this post where you say, I've gotten some requests for Trico, but honestly, what you say is I'm after several K for him, and if I don't get offers in that realm, I'll just be happy to keep him.
Yay!
So that's you have to pay for if you want your very own real life Trico. Then
literally.
Just do it.
It'd be cheaper to buy a dog and stick feathers on it, I think.
And Nas never change. Just stick to it. Okay, you put hours and hours of work, and look, it's all this bullshit of relativity. Is like, well, we all put in our hours at like normal jobs or whatever. We know that results in a paycheck of about 1,000. So asking for anything less than like a couple grand for what you did is just it's ridiculous. So again, big ups to yourself for that. But continue, Logan.
Is the Trico still with you though?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I had a couple of people offer to buy him and then sort of mess me around, and during that period I got so attached to him that I couldn't let it go. I mean, I've had some pretty generous offers for him, but he's almost priceless to me. I put hundreds and hundreds of hours into making him, and no, it almost gets to the point.
Oh no, it says $500, 400 hours. Right.
Wow. Incredible.
400 plus hours.
400 plus hours. And how much are you how much would you be charging?
If someone wanted to buy something like him that took 400 hours or so, I'd want upwards of $4,000 for that.
Very good.
It just depends on if there's a buyer out there who
wants
to buy a real life Trico.
Speaking as your manager and as your chief financial advisor, I would suggest we go no lower than 5,000. Okay, 5 is a good round number.
That's what I wanted to say, but some people do balk at those kind of figures. So
it's simple as that.
I've had a couple of offers around that, but at this point I'm just so attached to him that I don't know. I'm sure if someone offered me $1 million I would take it, but at this you'd have to pry him from my hands. So.
Yes, that's right. And again, that's going to tie into, we're going to have a mini chat obviously about Last Guardian, because Naz jumping on this episode because of her work on the Trico. We hope to see each of the colossi. We're holding you to it. You're 16.
I was actually in preparation for this today. I was going through and watching a playthrough of Shadow of the Colossus, and I was thinking which one I would like to make if I was to make one. So that is something I'm thinking about. So.
Well, let us leave that as a mini teaser, and I'm gonna hold you to the strongest of promises, a podcast promise. I'm gonna hold you to this, Naz. So for the Colossus you do choose, you have to jump back onto the show Fumito Ueda podcast and speak on that Colossus's episode. You like that?
Yeah, I don't think I can get them done that quickly.
Yeah, we'll see.
Listen,
if you start right now while we're recording.
Yes, just start feathering, but the podcast promise is binding. It cannot be undone. Sorry, I'm kidding. Oh my god, I'm kidding. All right, but let's crack on, you guys. I'm already digging the vibe of yourself, Naz. You gotta just like, even if there isn't like whatever projects, like feel free to jump on. It's kind of something you kind of can. Logan, you're picking up on it. She's a groovy person. Let's leave that door open for yourself, Naz, for sure. So, weekly catch-up. I'll throw it to Logan. How has your past week been in sort of Fumito Ueda and sort of anything in that sort of sphere?
It's been good. In terms of Ueda, I've been trying to just. I mean, I got back into the Reddits, which I sort of forgot to subscribe back to after I had unsubscribed from them due to spoilers.
Okay.
And there's really so much content there, and I see something and I'm like, oh, why didn't I see this and put it on the blog when it came out? And it's like, damn it.
Yeah.
If I put it on now, are people gonna,
Yeah.
do the people that follow me on Tumblr go on Reddit? Are they gonna be like, why is he only posting this right now? I already saw this on Reddit 2 weeks ago. Those are the kinds of thoughts that go through my head. But yeah, now I'm back checking Reddit again.
That's awesome.
But I mean, in terms of the game, like I really haven't been playing it lately. Like it was really um the combination of playing number 16 Zenobia 3 times in normal time
Whoa.
attack and failing because of his AI that needs to be patched, where he just stands still and like swipes at the floor for like not doing anything. That like caused me to lose 3 separate times, and
Whoa.
that was a little demoralizing. And then it's also like I kind of think about these 79 golden coins, and I'm like, I
They're
can't
taunting
lose
you, aren't
that.
they?
Like that's gonna, yeah, like you need to, from what I've seen, you basically need to do a hard mode playthrough, do hard time attack, to get all the items, and then you need to do several more hard mode playthroughs because some of the golden coins are in the secret garden. And the reason it needs to be in hard mode is because you need that little parachute glider thingy, cape to get to some of them. So it's like that is many hours, and I really, the hat goes off to people who have done it. There have been some. There was one person who was messaging me on Tumblr about how they done it. I mean, that was a few weeks ago. That's amazing. Like I don't, I have a lot of devotion to the world of these games, but I don't know if I can devote that much time to
It's
accomplishing
crazy.
this. Yeah.
You definitely see, like, again, it's these different tiers of, I mean, not that, like, segmented out of like, oh, more devoted, puts in more time, is bigger appreciator. But no, I think it's like, yeah, whatever you can obviously make time for, but then it's just about like your own personal connection. It's totally subjective to like in terms of how much but I am like, all I'm saying is, look, I tend to get surprised too by just like how in depth people go, and then like hearing that, like, for example, I just I'm going slow, guys. I'm going on the remake. I've just taken down Valis and
Nice.
Quadratus. So yeah, but it's more than any other creator, I think Fumito's works, if anything, just for their scarcity, is something to cherish. So
Totally.
yeah, and to savor for sure. So did you have any other riffs on your amazing Colossus slaying activities, Logan?
No, that's all I got to say about that.
I
Right
dig
now.
it. I dig it. And yourself, yeah. And Naz, yourself, how has your past week and a bit been in sort of Fumito Ueda, any of his works and such?
Pretty much just reading Trico every morning.
Amazing.
Yay! Oh, envious.
Get new barrels.
Yes.
But no, I need to buy the remaster version. I'm really keen to play it.
Okay,
Yeah.
we're gonna go GoFundMe. Okay, listeners, everyone, jump onto the. I'm posting it now. Posting the link. Okay, no, but we'll make something happen for sure. But yeah, needless to say, like, you need to make that. Gosh, come on, Naz, come on.
I have been playing the Okami remake.
That's good. Oh yeah, obviously.
Part of, yeah.
If you also, and this to you as well, Logan. It's like I'll throw it to you, obviously, with like Fumito Ueda related, but Fumito Ueda makes games. Games are also a thing. You can dip into a bit of that as well. So
I mentioned before we started recording that I've been playing Resident Evil Revelations 2, which has been a pretty damn fun game. Better than Revelations 1, which was good, but Revelations 2 is I really like the setting. It's this random Russian island, and they do some cool things with having 2 different player characters that you can switch back and forth between. Yeah, it's been fun, and I'm once I beat it, I'm gonna go right on to Resident Evil 7, which I am both excited and terrified of playing. So we will see how that goes.
You're just gonna go VR, right? No turning back, right?
No, I don't have PSVR, and if I did, it would
Definitely
probably
not.
give me a heart attack or something. So I'm kind of glad that I don't.
Goodness me. Oh, speaking of VR, has anyone here, or no, even I'll widen the pool as well, because VR hasn't found its way into that many people's houses. So the Trico experience, the VR, it's downloadable for
Yeah,
free.
we can talk about that.
Yeah. So have you either played that, Logan, or Nas? Or
Nope. I saw Jacksepticeye play it.
oh yeah, he's cool. Yeah, I'm assuming probably not. Do you know anyone with PSVR, Nas?
No, I actually haven't used any virtual reality yet, so I'm really keen to find someone that has, so I can give it a go. So
There you go. Fantastic. So
yeah,
yeah, I haven't yet. I think I'll probably be a lazy second or third gen VR person if that even happens. I'm a bit trepidatious about becoming increasingly disconnected from like what's real. But again, I don't want to be a prude, so I'd be kind of open to trying it. So because I just heard, I could hear it. Oh, it just like crawled on my skin. I could hear all the listeners eye rolling, being like, "Way to go, Grandma! Just staying in like 1999, with your backwards ways." No, I'm open to it. I just want to make sure that like we firmly know what is real. Boody boo. Okay, fantastic. So Oh yeah, I suppose I've been sort of giving feedback on my own because I always forget to do this when I do the roundtables. I forget myself. It's like damn. So for me, I have to give big ups to one of the main proponents of Shadow of the Colossus. He's spoken publicly about its virtues, its standing as one of the key pillars of signifying the legitimacy of games as an art form, as a storytelling medium that resonates more with like life itself than any other, because of the fact that like life as our games is an interactive experience, which is kind of an interactive artistry. We say life is an interactive art, which is reflective of what this person has said regularly, and this person is none other than Guillermo del Toro, who has not only incorporated, he said, I was directly inspired by Shadow of the Colossus for the elemental in Hellboy 2. He said that was just direct inspiration, so open shot. He's also spoken about the game being the most moving game experience he's ever had, and we see in a lot of his works there's a bit of shared palette, a little bit of shared design aspects. He certainly loves his crumbling ruins, the man, in some of the Hellboy stuff that he's done, and definitely Pan's Labyrinth. So there's a strand of connected tissue there. So he swept the Oscars recently. So we shout out our tangentially related fantastic Mexican uncle Guillermo del Toro on Fumito Ueda podcast, in case in case he or any of his people who might know him might be listening. So shout out to you for as he put it, kicking down the door. He sort of raised his sort of statue and said, "Hey, for those who are as Fumito Ueda is very much like, they're just not interested in telling ultra realistic, just stuff that's rooted in realism, like cars and mobile phones and tablets and all this modern trappings." They said, like, we can tell fables, we can tell socially relevant, timelessly relevant stories in the form of parable and fairy tale, and have them be so effective like to be able to move us on the level they do, but then to have that recognition from it's the highest accolade that can be given in that medium, and it won't be long before we see Fumito Ueda awarded similarly for, even though I did mention on one of the previous episodes he was awarded a Lifetime Achievement Award from the Drago d'Oro, which is the Golden Dragon in Italy, or I think it might be a French award, but as the Game Awards sort of start to ramp up, we're going to see the Lifetime Achievement Award for Fumito Ueda.
I hope so.
For sure. Awesome. So I figured I'd mention that's kind of been my thing, and then as I said, going slow. Why rush? Savor it. Amazing. Naz, do you have PlayStation Plus by any chance?
No, I don't.
Okay, well, again, I'm penning notes about some kind of GoFundMe thing for Naz to get her a copy of the absolutely, we'll make that happen. So that's sort of our weekly catch up, done and dusted. Oh my gosh, hey Logan, we're staying on schedule. This is crazy. Naz is like a good luck charm for efficiency. Awesome. So overview of the week, of this week's episode. So we'll be diving into Valor soon enough, which I'm going to challenge myself in the edit. So every time we sort of cut away to sort of that main topic, so as we go Colossus by Colossus, I'll be playing obviously the stinger of music and stuff like that. So again, I just sort of mentioned that here. By the way, this would be insufferable if I didn't edit myself with this. Naz, that's one of the great formats of being able to edit as well, is that like I can just kind of like as Jeff Goldblum puts it, he's a very hemming and hawing kind of person, and I like Logan is preternaturally patient with me. So I appreciate you being patient as well. Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Okay, so well, news again. It's very minimal, listeners. They're very much. I mean, why not, Logan? Let's give it a Google. Let's give it a Google. Let's give Fumito Ueda a Google, mate.
All right, you think something new might have come up? I mean,
Fumito Ueda declared president of the United. Oh wait, no.
Yeah.
That's okay.
There's no. It's just some reviews from February.
Shadow of the Colossus. That's okay. And yeah, so we here are, as far as my camp is concerned, quite positive towards the, as I call it, the remasterpiece. But I really appreciate having Logan on the show and Nick on the previous show to just sort of make sure, give the kudos and the ups to the original to make sure that one, it is the original. And even Bluepoint would admit is like, we're an honorary museum in the shape of the original. Simple as that, you know? Which I figured I'd mention. So I know you haven't played it yet, Naz, but what are your impressions of the remake so far?
I've been watching it a lot today. I'm just flabbergasted by it, to be honest. It looks, especially when you're going through the forest and the terrain, it almost looks like you're riding through a photograph.
It's
I'm
true.
Pretty blown away.
Wow. If you could see some of the photo mode screenshots people have taken, I mean, if you showed it to a person who didn't know that it was a game, I really think that you could fool somebody.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah,
I grew up with horses, so I also appreciate the horse improvements.
Yeah, agro. There, see, there's the accent.
They've really improved him.
Yeah. Also, well, okay. Here's our mini horse tangent, because I love horses very much as well. Naz, they're great. And Logan, can you join our pony club right here? Do you like horses?
They're all right. I don't know.
Okay, many thousand.
Like
half of our listenership are horses, man. You just offended so many. I can't even believe it. Like, I can hear the mournful.
I cannot tell a lie.
That's so great. I just thought of an Aqua Teen reference there. I cannot tell a lie. You listen to Rick and you listen to. Do you watch Rick and Morty by any chance, Naz?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I'm all up to date.
Great.
Yeah.
So Justin Roiland, there's like he did a voice in Aqua Teen where like he plays an anthropomorphic hot dog called Honest Abe Lincoln, and yeah. Okay, Logan.
I didn't see that one.
Hey, that's okay. I'll have to send you the link. Logan is he keeps track of my tangents. I have a certain tangent allowance, and he tells me when I've reached. How am I 60%, or am I close to the? That's it. I think I have.
I don't know. We'll see when it gets to 5 a.m. for me, and if I'm still.
It's like Albert, players, multipass.
Yeah.
All right.
This is for 3 hours.
I know. That's all good. So there's our mini news segment there. No, but guys, it will ramp up. I think I have a feeling in my old 90-year-old bones that we're actually going to hear some news. Not too long from, because as you enter like the mid-March, that's when you start hearing rumblings of who's going to, rumors and such happening with E3. So don't be surprised. This is a bit of a shorter news section. Yeah, go ahead.
GDC is coming right up. I think very soon.
Right.
I don't think we're going to see anything there, but it is happening. So
yeah,
who the hell knows?
That's right. In 12 days, according to my app. So there you go.
Yeah.
Coolies. So let us jump into quickly. We'll keep it a quick thing because we want to dive into Valis, and I figured I'd mention here. Naz is the guest previous to you, who joined us, was a gentleman by the name of Nicholas Setner, recipient of the very first Interactive Artistry Testament of Amelioration for significant contribution to the growth and maturation of the interactive medium. I'm not reading off of anything, that's just implanted in my brain. So we celebrate him for sure, and and I say this about Naz, for what you do with it's about anyone connecting with and elevating this medium, and that's why sculptor is the word. I know you say affectionately on your Patreon, you say, "Oh, me and other plushies," like that's like the word for you guys, like plushsters or something. But you're a full blown artist to me, and you elevate the medium with your work. You really do.
That's so nice of you. Thank you.
No, absolutely. And so yeah, this gentleman here, he was interviewed before us. The last show he was on was the Kind of Funny show with Greg Miller, who is 10-year plus veteran of the industry. Probably interviewed Ueda a few times, and then Nick himself has interviewed Ueda in person and via email a couple of times. So it was good to kind of get direct impressions from him from that. And I would just at this point sort of mention that like we with each of the he wrote this book that we're going to be actually reading section by section portions of, because we want to encourage people to actually go out and go over to Boss Fight Books, which is where you can buy his book. It's simply called Shadow of the Colossus, and the chapter that we'll be reading from today. And again, Naz, this was so surreal. We got started on this show, right? And out of nowhere, this at literally as we're about to start this sort of Colossus by Colossus, I come across Nick's work. I message him on Twitter. He's gracious and inhumanly kind and patient and generous enough to give us his time. And he writes this book where it's literally a travelogue. Like we were preparing for a journey like this, and then he's like, "Oh, by the way, here's a book for your entire endeavor. Enjoy."
Table.
Exactly. So he's our Gandalf. We affectionately call him our Gandalf, who sort of put us on our journey. So the chapter we'll be reading from is called "Raise Thy Sword by the Light," which is the first line from the first of Dorman's hints. So I figure I'd mention that too for our new listeners and for our guest Naz to sort of set the format going forward. Lovely. So let's make it really quick, Logan. So Reddit rundown. So do you have the Reddit in front of you, my friend?
I did a few minutes ago. I'll get it up again.
You fail me for the last time. No, I'm kidding. Naz, do you actually I haven't even asked. Do you use Reddit at all, Naz?
Not very often. I have an account, but I usually just post my stuff on there. And,
you need to forget you ever knew desktop Reddit. It's dead. For me, desktop Reddit is like looking at a messy storeroom. Where like the front of the store, it is. So you obviously wouldn't want to spend time in a messy, like dusty storeroom that is just full of data. You want to go to the premium, amazing experience, which is this damn app. And I'm not like sponsored by Reddit or anything, although feel free to contact me. It is the most life-changing. It gave birth to interactive artistry as we know it. It's so streamlined. You need to be downloading. You have the iPhone or any of the smart devices?
Yeah, I can download it.
It's on another level. Just turn the night mode on. It's really nice and like easy on the eyes, and just sign up to as many communities as possible. It's like Reddit was always meant for the mobile app, and we'll be posting your episode and links to your work on the Team Ico Reddit, and just help us build this community, Naz. It's really great. I think what are we sitting on now? 2,693. So let's get that to 3,000 for sure, I reckon, and then ever onwards. So that'll be really cool. Do you want to take the first one, Logan?
Yeah, sure. I'm gonna look on my desktop Reddit here and find a post. The top post on the Shadow of the Colossus Reddit right now is a really cool photo mode screenshot where Wander is shooting an arrow like right into the corner of the shot, and the arrow is like super close.
Oh, nice.
That's a really, really awesome one.
Well done. Who's the user who did that?
Yes, that is from Leonardo VizEU, I guess. VIZEU.
Cool.
So very cool. Then on the Team Eco Reddit, I know there was a couple videos. That Riku 7kun guy. He's like the big new seems like the big new Team Eco YouTuber on the block.
Oh, cool.
He's been doing videos for a few months, but I think really recently he's been posting them on Reddit. He's sort of like a new nomad of a sort.
I dig it.
He's been posting videos about beating Quadratus and Kuramori with a wooden stick somehow.
Whoa, no way. Well, then, needless to say, we need to get this fellow on the show. So consider this, if you're listening, my friend, an official invite. Direct message away, and we'll make that happen, because that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Anyone showing?
Like I said,
go ahead.
Sorry. Like I said, I've been away from the Reddits for a while, so I could probably go through a whole bunch of stuff and just say, "Ooh, this is cool, this is cool, this is cool." But
Yeah,
I'll,
I know.
I'll throw it to you.
That's cool. Okay, easy. So we have a fantastic painting by user Topeka97. My girlfriend made me this a while back, thought I'd share, which is just corrupted Wanda looking at Mono, who is, you can read all sorts of meanings into her expression there.
Yeah, I don't know. Are they gonna fight or?
Yeah, concern, worry, love, and then that's the best of art that you want that. So you're getting an upvote from me. And then we have I like to jump in for this. Sometimes you miss out on entire amazing strings of quality. And Naz, you are about to embark on an amazing journey with the Reddit app, because just jumping on this thing in the middle of the day and then just scrolling through all the comments, and because it's so beautifully presented, you can have these great, like, there's a subreddit called it's like there's so many, like, or there's one called like dad jokes, for example, and so you'll read a dad joke, and then underneath that there'll be 50 other amazing dad jokes about that dad joke. So you need to, any Reddit post you go to, you always have to jump into comments. So we have so that's from that user there, Topeka97, and then the best comment, I'm going to upvote it, is Chuck Gopher says, "Who are you? I'm you, but stronger." It's just like, it's fantastic because it's like two people looking at each other. Okay, so I think I'm pretty good on this. Well, we have a kind of a Artax-tastic. I've always thought of the parallel between Atreyu and Artax and Agro and Wanda, and we see user Look W64. I love that you can pet Agro in the game, and we see this is a much lighter hearted scene, obviously, with this photo mode here. Agro obviously isn't drowning or anything, but it's like, I've always had a little bit of Neverending Story vibes, especially with Trico. Like the oh my god, the Falcor vibes are so strong. They're so real. Falcor, yeah. And the big red. Naz, you remember Clifford the Big Red Dog?
Yeah.
Yeah, big time. That just that archetype of like large sort of fantastical beast that like sweeps you off to adventure and like protects you and stuff. It's really cool. So that's me done actually for the Reddit rundown. There, this again, I must echo what Logan was saying, as I've been away for a bit, just on account of spoilers. And look, user Albert Kesser will be discussing the first Colossus shortly. If you'd like to be on Fumito Ueda podcast as our co-host, comment or message. We'll also be reading out Valor stories, so feel free to share those too, which I do have, by the way. So we'll be reading one of those. And look, isn't this cute, Naz? February 19th, that's when we planned on recording. Ha 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 ha.
Yeah.
So funny.
Got there eventually.
I know, we did get there. So for my Reddit readout, I usually like to pick something where it's like a speculative thing. But you know what? I'll pick out user TG Manas Samana. Which one of the colossi will you choose as the most impacting during your personal journey? The point of my question is to gather your favorite experience, your individual experience regarding your favorite colossus in the Forbidden Lands. You might also consider these factors while sharing your opinion. This is really well structured, very endearing. The way you discovered one of the colossi, the way you were impressed by a location, the way the boss battle characterized your experience. This is like an employment form. It's great.
We could almost just cover these.
Yeah.
Just save this thread and then cover them when we actually go through those colossi.
All due respect, user TG Manasamana, as the highest form of compliment. We're just gonna steal this. It's great. There you go. You don't have copyright on words. But yeah, I'm kidding. Needless to say, this is beautiful. So last question is, any specific characteristics of the colossi that you love? This is phenomenal. This is literally what I was going to do. What is this continued blessing we keep getting with the show, Logan? Oh my god. It's crazy. This is perfect. I'm actually going to, literally, as you said, Logan, I'm going to use this for sure going forward. So we'll do that roundtable, obviously, when we get to Valis, because that's perfectly suits that. But now, as I figured I'd mention, from episode 1, and I hope I'm knocking wood here, we've literally received like a mini blessing for each of the shows. Like before our first show, we got a postcard from like Gen Design, even though they'd been quiet for like months.
Yeah.
We got this.
For the record, we did not get.
We got a personally. They sent it to us in person. They came. They drove up. I'm kidding.
It's found online by somebody.
Okay. Fine. Thanks. I just wanted to feel special, Logan.
I know.
Cheers.
I just wanted to clarify in case Naz thought we like had some kind of pen pals with Ueda.
We are.
I was thinking, where's my postcard?
I know. Oh, sad, heartbroken emoji.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But yeah, oh, I actually would love. Now you just got me thinking. How cool will it be once we start seeing a bit more from this new title? Obviously, to get the actual title, but yeah, I'd love to get like a postcard set. Just literally thought of how cool that would be. But anyway, so the closing comment from this user here is, anyway, I hope you could try to share your favorite moment related to the majestic experience that you were living thanks to this game. So a really beautifully earnest comment. So I just wanted to shout you out and upvoting you, and I'll be posting a link to the timestamp for when we mention you to all the people I mention, which, believe it or not, I do struggle in keeping track of, because I often do that. I'm like, I'll shout you out, I'll shout this out, da 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 da. So yeah. So
Yeah, I tried to
Yeah.
kind of, there was one episode where I went through it and I was like, I gathered some links and commented on it.
Yeah.
Because there was one episode where we mentioned a lot of stuff. I just wanted to make sure any of the listeners could have gotten to see that.
Yeah, for sure. If you didn't have a readout for yourself, though you totally can if you want, man, I'm happy to jump into our main topic. If you had
Well,
one.
I already had mine. I was.
Oh, that was the rundown, man. The rundown is you like kind of breeze over and then.
There's a rundown and a readout.
Ah,
okay,
yeah,
well,
boy. So if you have one that you want to dive into and do a roundtable on, we can do that.
Yeah, I had this post that I mentioned a few weeks ago about The Last Guardian, but I do
Yes.
think I'm going to save that for another time.
Ooh,
Just
okay.
because it deserves a bit of a longer discussion. So
That's right.
we'll talk about that in a future episode.
Too easy. Well, if that's okay with yourself, Logan and Naz, I'm happy to crack on with reading from Raise Your Sword, Raise Thy Sword by the Light, if that's all right.
Go for it.
Fantastic. The pause was to allow for the music. Sorry. Anyway. Raise Thy Sword by the Light. The opening cinematic ends as the camera transitions into live gameplay, and I'm given control for the first time. Moving Wanda around is a joy, both in execution and for the fact that there's no particular rush or threat as I prepare myself for this world and its as yet unseen battles. The shrine is empty, save for Mono lying still, and my horse Agro quietly exploring nearby while I come to grips with the controls. Wanda's gait is more mature than Iko's, the earned confidence of an adventurer rather than that of a resilient child. His jumps and fearless lunges forward that can cover a lot of ground. If his sword is unsheathed, he'll run with it ninja-like, pointing it down and back along his side. And many of his basic movements are contextual. He'll leap from a running horse, or simply dismount with a step down from a stilled one. Agro is a star in her own right, a living, breathing companion and partner in crime for Wanda, not simply a vehicle for speed or safety. And when I'm not riding her, she'll wander off on her own, or rein up dramatically alongside me without prompting, or stay close when staying close is called for. Little mini bracket here from me. What you said earlier, Naz, about like being in a living painting. Absolutely. All of the horses' animations, like you could just literally photo mode any of them and just, there you go, there's a painting. Just beautiful, so dramatic. So by the way, to both yourselves, like what I'm doing here is reading through the chapter will provide like a guideline for us both. So feel free to stop me at any point to jump in if you have a riff. Yeah, go ahead, Logan.
I do have to ask you, how much are you planning to read?
Not all of it. Not all of it. Oh my god. Of course not. Yeah, we're just going to be here.
I think we have both read it after all, so really we could go through it. Pick out Nick's best observations.
Yeah.
And then just tell everyone, you wanna get the audiobook, then you can just get the book.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh no, on no level was I planning on reading the whole thing. No. So the whole thing is with this particularly. Well, hey listeners, we're getting started. It's okay. We're gonna be so smooth by like episode 20. You won't even believe it. So, but the idea is so for while I'm reading that kind of main chunk, it'll just be the music playing under me and all that, and it'll just all be mood setting. Way to go, Logan. Okay. Jeez, honestly.
I'm sorry.
I'm kidding.
I just wasn't
I'm
like.
kidding.
We didn't discuss this, so I was like.
I know. That's why it's the most beautifully well planned. Like we are so professional because we just plan as we record. It's fantastic. No, it's all good. But yeah, I'll wrap up this paragraph here, and then we'll jump in to the topic ourselves, do roundtables, and then I'm probably going to be skimming through Nick's chapter as we discuss our own experiences with this Colossus, and sort of use those and just just sort of tease people and be like, check out the book, go in, as you say, audiobook, or the physical copy or the digital copy, so too easy. But yeah, we're all good on that one, Logan, are we? Like, I didn't mean, I was just joking earlier, by the way.
Yeah, no, and I don't want to sound like I'm like nitpicking here.
No, man, I
was just,
love
like,
it.
frankly wondering.
It's important. Again, Naz, like, Logan literally is the 50%. Like, he balances out the show, makes sure it's like, by the way, Albert, do you know why are we doing this? Like, are we good? Is that good? And I actually really need that, so I appreciate it. Awesome. So speaking of aggro, she's unpredictable, as animals are, but a fierce friend, and really my only one in this world. As we leave the confines of the shrine, the true breadth of this place, the Forbidden Lands, as they're known, becomes evident, and with it a mounting sense of adventure. It's breathtaking. Rolling, windswept hills and crags flow off into the distance ahead of me, overcast skies above, burning with sunlight just behind the clouds.
That's some very nice phrasing there. Burning with sunlight.
Oh, indeed. So I'll finish this paragraph and then we'll jump in yourselves. You two, you lovelies. The camera stays low, following behind and keeping Wanda off-center, maintaining focus on the landscape. Even while casually exploring, there's a sense of cinematography to the framing, some distant director playing up the drama of each shot while maintaining a visual balance. So there is the first couple paragraphs from the Raise Thy Sword by the Light chapter. If you were intrigued by that, definitely jump on Boss Fight Books, and it's totally just like a click and easy process from there. You can even do it. I actually did it on my iPhone. There was a couple of US $4 actually. Now, so just jump on, grab it. It's a really beautiful book. So beautifully written.
And we're just plugging this out of love.
Out of
we're
love.
Thankful to Nick. He was on last week. We don't have a deal with Boss Fight Books.
Yeah, there's
we're,
no
we're
deal.
Just,
yeah.
Nick's devotion to these games and his insight is very valuable.
Yeah, and that's sort of our sufficient enough of a premise to want to sort of help promote his work. And again, Naz, with yourself joining in, it's kind of what we want to set the tone for, which is people joining in out of having contributed to creating works inspired by or directly referencing Fumito Ueda's works, and we just wanted to continue that here. So Naz isn't like giving us anything. We just love anyone who works on this on anything that elevates and showcases this creator in this medium. So that's figured I'd add to what you said there, Logan. So Valis, let us begin with our wonderful guest, who you may now dive as deep as you want into any thoughts whatsoever. Again, you can even use that awesome post which we found. Why not? I just saved it, Albert. You have to. I'm just speaking to myself here. Make sure you have things available, my friend.
I have it right here.
Yeah, okay. Could you, Logan, take it away, my friend? Thanks. Tag team. Go ahead.
I mean, sure. So I guess we're going to be discussing Valis, and we're going to try to pull as much out of that as we possibly can.
Yeah.
And I guess the factors are listed by TG Manasamana in his post, which I guess we are now using almost like they are some sort of official survey guidelines.
I dig it.
Are the way you discovered the colossi, the way if you were impressed by the location, the way the boss battle characterized your experience, and any specific characteristic of the colossi.
Beautiful. So let's do roundtables on each one of them. So the very first one, if you want to tackle that one there, Naz. So the very first one, I'm just looking for. I'm just failing. Why? I literally just saved it. What's wrong with me? Okay, cool. All right. So the way you discovered the colossi. Now, obviously, there's no alternate ways really to discover these. They have their dwelling places. It's not dynamic open world. But I think what we'll probably do is just where we were at, maybe emotionally, or like in terms of our impressions of the surrounds, what that kind of like. So instead of the way you discovered, it's like how did it sort of build up for you, and what were your thoughts on the approach to the colossi, etc. Naz?
I think the thing I most remember was riding aggro. I think when you're riding her, she just gives this real feeling of like power when you're riding her, and her stride is so massive, and it almost feels like you're just holding on for dear life. So I think that's what I most remember about first playing and first traveling in the game, just thinking, hold on tight sort of thing. So Yeah.
Okay. Throw it to Logan. How about yourself? What was a little riff for yourself there regarding aggro, and regarding just like the what the question?
Well, yeah, I mean, as I previously said, the whole intro segment of the game is extremely well designed. They put you out in this world and you can tell it's very massive, but then you hold up your sword and it says, just go straight. And you go, okay, well, I guess I'm just going to go straight then.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you run through this sort of, it's you have these two hills that are on either side of each other, and they sort of form a road to go down, and then you get to this strange sort of mountainous area, and you hear these little musical tones, and they're like, ooh, this is kind of mysterious. And then you go through the tutorial, and then you finally get to the top, and you see Valis come in from the right, and sort of continue on with these birds flying above his head. And I think those birds, if I recall, are actually part of his character model. They're not like independent in themselves. They have like kind of they're pre-animated as part of Valis's model, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, so I mean, just super impressive, and you don't see his you don't see Valis's face really, unless you walk in front of him, or maybe you might not even see it until you actually get onto his head, because you're behind him when you start out running at him, which I think is the Japanese cover for the game, is Valis from behind, which was changed to Valis from the front for the US version, and now the remake has guys from behind, so kind of similar there.
There you go. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So for myself, so with like addressing the first part of this kind of breakdown that we're going to do, so how I discovered it, so the way I discovered it, obviously. Now for me, I'll sort of add to both of your points actually, about yourself, Naz, speaking of like just that feeling of like setting out on the adventure off towards where the light is shining, and Logan, sort of the point you raised. For me, again, I'll talk about Never-Ending Story here again because I have to. Like for those who grew up on that film, because it was more for the film for me than the book. Anytime, maybe Naz, if you ride horses, presumably, Naz. Maybe.
I did for 12 years. So.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. So for me, when I think of like galloping horses, I hear I'll probably be playing some of that music here. So there's a certain piece of music that plays with Neverending Story that it's just it's like Bastion overhead on Falcor, and it's like Atreyu like like full gallop across. It's like the adventure has started, and though there's like it's very eerie. It's not eerie. I would say it's just muted. Forbidden Lands is like this place is forbidden. So the score, and this serves the story absolutely. It's meant to give off a feeling of trepidation, of like I'm treading on somewhere I shouldn't be, even though it's so idyllic and beautiful. And there's an inherent commentary there about how what we love so much, what we are drawn to so powerlessly, we're powerless against it, is often what we shouldn't be drawn to, and what we shouldn't mess with, which is nature and such. And so there's that's the eternal relationship between man and nature, described, I suppose, in a nutshell form, is that out of love for it, we encroach, but we're destroying it. Which is, again, you can dive into all sorts of avenues there for speculation, but that's definitely an impression I had. For me, also, like as a someone who enjoys, I'm not a sculptor like you, Naz, but I really appreciate people who can, and I appreciate like I'm one of those people. I don't know, Logan, if you did this, I liked to sort of like maybe on paper just jot down like imaginary like building, like sort of maybe like cubby houses, or we call them cubby houses in Australia, but for you guys like tree houses, and and sort of like architecture. And so when I see how Mono's plinth is set up, and there's just that beautiful sweeping like it just leads you straight from her from like her plinth like down into the valley. I just find that to be such a beautiful architectural feature. Like that, like dude, they could have just had like a stairway. It could have been the most boring thing, but they decided to make this beautiful thing. And okay, I'm gonna get a bunch of laughter from you guys. So so I hadn't played for a while, and I just could not remember where Valis was. This is terrible. Okay, I couldn't, and so I ran completely the other way to the yes, I knew it, you guys. Thanks a lot for making me feel good. I'm kidding. All right, so yeah, I ran to the cairns, which is the not the town that we have here in Australia, the burial site, which is like there's like those, I think that's where you encounter Gaius, possibly. It's with those sort of raised, like almost like hobbit hole kind of. It's this sort of brace of four kind of like catacombs that you can dive beneath. Is that where you encounter?
No, that's number 4,
Phaedra. Phaedra. Yeah, so I just went there. I just hung out, and Phaedra's like no one was there. I just went down. I completely forgot. I was like, "Where's Valis?" And I couldn't figure out the sword, and yeah, cue endless laughter from all the actual people who know how to not be interactively challenged. I don't. There has to be some kind of word for people who are like rusty at games a little bit initially when they start, but I got there eventually. Gosh, so yeah, that's kind of my sort of opening vignette there. So that's how I eventually discovered Valis there. So let's go to our second heading here. So the way you were impressed by a location. So I probably combine my two answers in mine. I'll have a riff for when it comes back to me. But Naz, in terms of where you fight Valis, like the environment and everything, how do you think it serves to sort of enhance the experience of facing this first Colossus?
To be honest, it's been so long since I played. You sort of climb up in the tutorial mode? Then,
yeah.
Is it sort of is it in like a valley sort of thing?
Yeah. It's basically it's very barren. It's very, wouldn't you say, Logan? It's very nondescript. It's like
yeah. There's not much to it, especially compared to some of the later locations.
Yeah. I think that's probably to help highlight his impressiveness rather than focusing on the location. It's all about him.
Yeah, it's just it literally strips everything else away, and it lays bare the sort of dire kind of dour mission you have. It's just here they are, and there's nothing but them looming ahead of you, and it's it also reflects the lifelessness, which Logan talked a bit about this in Rick's in Nick's episode. How you've obviously played the whole game. Naz, I'm not going to spoil anything for you.
Oh yeah, I've played a few.
Yeah, sure.
Times.
So
come on.
Yeah, come on. I'll cut to a few Seinfeld clips like, "Come on, what are you doing?" No, it's okay. But yeah, I wanted to build on what Logan mentioned in one of those earlier episodes about how by the end, in this weird kind of beautifully kind of like layered way, it's sad. There's like what happens to Wanda. His heart darkening, his being darkening, and all that. But nature kind of rebalances in a weird way. Do you know how like life comes back to the lands? So I figured that it would suit perfectly for the very first experience you have to be like the most barren symbolically. Like it's like it's sort of setting the tone for here's the beginning of the arc, and I think in a way also keeping in mind that this was marketed very differently to Eco. It was in a way, like I think Logan, you touched on this, that it was almost like cool sounding. Like you gave this in your sort of description of how you first encountered the Shadow. It's like Shadow of the Colossus. It sounds way more like epic and like almost gamey, I suppose, if you think about it, and engaging and like exciting, and then like taking down Colossi. So I think they wanted to keep that first encounter, as Naz was saying, like as simple as stripped down as possible. That's kind of my little riff on that. So where are we at? Where's my headings? Oh, my phone likes to lock itself. Isn't that great? So I dove into sort of my thing of a location based building off of Naz's. But yourself, Logan, what were your thoughts on the themes and how the location served? Yeah, go.
Yeah, you're definitely right about, I think, the barrenness of the location sort of serving its purpose in that respect. I feel like Nick might offer a few words about that.
In the book?
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, it's hard to like scroll through this book, but obviously, the main feature of the area where you fight Valis is actually this sort of building built into the wall behind him, which is something that you might not even notice too much the first time you're fighting him because you're so focused on him. But it's this really cool. It's almost it would really be like a tall tower if it wasn't built into the wall itself. and it's sort of it has several floors in it, and it looks like something that you could possibly go inside, but it's been kind of smashed up and ruined, and you can't go inside the building. And that that was like maybe always the most interesting building and the most interesting ruin to me in the game. That and number 16 obviously has like an entire city surrounding it. But aside from that was always interesting because it's like that's such a hard to get to place. It's like, why did someone build this there? Like I almost kind of got the impression, this is just completely me,
Okay.
that like maybe that building was like built by a different group of people than that built everything else in the Forbidden Lands. But maybe that's the impression that they want to give. Maybe number 16's ruins were built by different people than number 15's ruins. We don't really know. And yeah, I just remember really liking that building because that was like you know to the extent to which you could compare the way I played the game to the way Nomad plays the game, that was the extent of my secret seeking, was just trying to get up onto that building. And you can get a couple levels up in there. And of course they put a couple gold coins there in the remake for the people who are going to do that. So yeah, that's the memorable part to me. Other than that, it's just an arena for you to be in awe of Valis.
Yeah, I agree. That's awesome, man, for sure. And I figured I'd mention Naz, is that when he referred to, I think you probably know who Nomad is, right, Naz?
Is Nomad the name of the guy, or
no? So Wonder is the name of the protagonist, but Nomad, he's again a fellow Australian. Logan, take it away. Go for it.
Yeah, no, Nomad is just a secret seeker for Shadow of the Colossus. He's a YouTuber. He's been around for a long, long time. Sort of going, I can only imagine that the hours that he has, not necessarily playing Shadow of the Colossus legitimately, but kind of hacking it and going into it and going places he shouldn't be going. Probably, hundreds and hundreds of hours spent on this.
Yeah.
He's sort of famous in the fan community for being like that. People have written articles about this guy, like on Kotaku, like big websites have been written about this sort of secret seekers of Shadow of the Colossus, and he's like the foremost among those.
I call him the preeminent digital archaeologist of the medium, for sure.
Yeah.
And yeah, go ahead, Logan.
Well, yeah, unfortunately, the truth is that there was one hidden thing in Shadow of Colossus, which was this half-developed dam area with nothing in it, really. It's not, you can't interact with it, but it's there. And someone else found that, and then Nomad, he's just gone around showing various different little interesting observations, things. He puts some. He's like, let's put Valis over by the shrine of worship just for funsies. He'll do that. He'll like tell you, oh, here's where they keep the model of Dorman. Before you see him in this cutscene, we'll zoom out and we'll show how they have this little model of Dorman waiting over here. So he does a lot of stuff like that, and but I think he recently got a hold of a previously unseen early version of the game, which is kind of cool, that features some different changes, like instead of dropping the sword into the pool at the end cutscene, in this early version of the game that Nomad found, Iman actually like takes a horn out from his coat or his hood and drops that into the pool instead, which is, I don't know where he got. I still don't know if anyone knows where he got that version of the game. But I think that other dude I mentioned, Riku, has also gotten his hands on it, so maybe it's just going around.
Wow.
That's probably, yeah. There's a lot to talk about with Nomad. He's gone very in depth on everything.
We'll definitely get him on the show to sort of expand on his discoveries, for sure, and just sort of quiz him of this. I'm sure there's a lot that he's probably been on other podcasts before, but we'll see how we go. And it'll be a pleasure to have him on for that one, for sure. Awesome. So I'll jump back into our awesome headings. So impressed by our location. I think we've done all of that one ourselves, haven't we? I sort of piggybacked off of Naz's one, so I'm good to kind of continue on. So the way the boss battle characterized your experience. Sweet. So I will throw that to Naz. So I suppose another way of phrasing that is Obviously, like the whole game is composed of boss battles, and if
Really?
you if oh yeah, really, ooh, really, but no, yeah, and basically to have each one of them stand out is a feat unto itself, right? So I figured I'd sort of like kind of maybe rephrase it a bit in the way that, like, how did it stand out for you among all the different boss battles as well? So go for it.
I guess it's, being the first battle, it's kind of like setting the tone for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
You haven't killed any other colossi yet, and I remember when I first played it, I remember, as a lot of people have said, the sort of emotional battle you go through having to kill this creature that is sort of just minding their own business. Like,
Yeah.
um, I really remember, because he was the first one you had to kill. Just going through that feeling, whereas in most other games you don't have a problem with killing, the bosses.
Yeah.
It's more of an emotional thing, I
Yeah.
guess.
You just
Yeah,
feel
it was.
bad.
Yeah, you do feel bad, and it's kind of like, oh, do I really have to kill this guy, or is he a creature? Is he a structure? Is he, to what level is he a being, sort of thing? Can they feel
Yeah.
pain? And just going through all those thoughts when you're
Yeah.
very first killing the colossus.
Hello everyone listening, this is Albert here, just jumping in to make sure that we don't forget to include our very first Colossus story for Valis from the amazing Animal Clan 101 on Instagram, and they have sent me a beautiful story which I wanted to read to you, because we want to read at least one listener story, or just a person who has enjoyed or engaged with Fumito Ueda's games in a way that sort of goes beyond just the sort of gameplay respect, that it actually touched them, and that it sort of, just sort of basically shaped and created a memory sort of thing. So if you allowed me to read. And then after this, we'll jump straight back into the episode. Okay, so she writes, so when I first started playing the game, I had watched a playthrough, so I knew exactly how to defeat all the colossi, all their names, etc. I know I'm a nerd for this game, lol. But as I was climbing the platforms to get up to his arena, I had already begun to get a bit annoyed with the climbing controls, so take into account that I was playing the PS3 version. When I finally triggered the battle, I tried to get a cool shot for my first time playing this beautiful game. My plan was to shoot Valis with an arrow and get him to look at me before pursuing me, but then the moment I started running towards him, I got anxiety. I got some anxiety. I tend to be uncomfortable with being beside things that are a lot larger than me, and I hadn't played a video game in months, so my body wasn't completely sure whether what was real or not. My heart started pounding as if Valis was right there in front of me. The controls weren't even helping much either. At least until Kuromori, Basaran, Dirge, or Solosia. But I still love this game, and I hold nothing against it. Thanks for taking the time to read my experience. No troubles at all. Animal Clan, that's very much parallels. You'll hear actually in the sort of main body of the episode, both Naz and Logan speak about their first experience, and it was very much along the same lines. Like, what do you do? Do you run right up to it? And I can see absolutely the idea of wanting to kind of fire the arrow to sort of draw it near. But for me personally, as soon as I entered its arena, it just immediately just turned its massive head towards me, and it just, goosebumps all over my body when I saw that, and just now when I sort of mentioned that. So thank you so much, Animal Clan 101, for sharing that, and we would love to have you write in again for any other stories that you may have for either Fumito Ueda or any of the games that we cover in the Interactive Artistry Network. So I would like to read another story. This one is a little bit belated because of scheduling and such, but we received it a couple of weeks ago. And if I may, hi guys, you replied to my comment on your podcast asking for memories of the series, so here I am. As a child, I never played new games too often. I was one of those kids that played demo discs to death. So was I, by the way. That's just me editorializing. Some of my favorite gaming memories are of games of which I've never actually played in full, but had just played the 30-minute timed demo of it over and over again. I can think of several coming back to me as I write this, and even though it was just a trailer, Eco was one of those games that stuck with me. There was something about that trailer that I can't describe even now, after being both a writer and an artist in the games industry for several years. Anyone who has played and understood any of the 3 Ueda games knows exactly what I mean. I and a group of friends played Shadow of the Colossus. I and a group of friends played Shadow of the Colossus in our teens. For a few months, it was all we talked about: new ways to climb the colossi, theories of where there could be a hidden colossi, what the purpose of that beautiful garden atop the temple was. It was a mysterious game that got us asking questions that no other game ever had before, or likely ever will again. We just roamed the world every night after school, taking it all in and looking for anything to talk about the next day. Of course, we never really found anything, but I think we knew all along that we never would. That wasn't the point of it all. I eventually learned of a HD remaster of both Eco and Shadow of the Colossus coming to the PS3. I think it was then that I realized that they were actually developed by the same studio. I couldn't wait to play the game I'd seen in the trailer so many years ago, and it did not disappoint. I fell in love with Yoda. I didn't want to leave her side. I got angry when a shadow creature tried to take her away from me, but I can't really explain why. She never even spoke. I think it was something in the way I played as the boy. He wanted to help her, to protect her and free her from her prison, and I was him. I can't believe I've said this much and not even mentioned The Last Guardian yet. It's difficult to say this because I love the others so much, but I think it's my favorite game of the series. Buddy, you and me both. I've mentioned it on earlier episodes and even on other shows how much that is my favorite game of all time. I think this game was heavily misunderstood by a lot of people, and I feel bad for those that are unable to see this game as it was intended to be seen. No, Trico does not do exactly what you say as soon as you say it, but seriously guys, have you never had a pet? The bond between the boy and Trico was unlike anything I've seen before, and I'm not just talking about games here. To start with, I was scared of Trico. I was very cautious pulling out those spears and feeding him. I was confused when I needed him to do something so that we could progress, but instead he would start scratching behind his ears. I really felt that I was trying to communicate in a completely different language, and that he was doing the same with me. It wasn't frustrating, but was an immersive experience that required the patience of Shadow of the Colossus's world and care for Eco's Yoda. A fine example of how you bond with Trico can be seen in a single moment in the game. I had briefly left Trico behind to look for a way to destroy a few stained glass panels blocking the way forward when I entered a large room with a balcony at one side from which I could see Trico. I soon realized there were stone men coming at me, and before I could get away, they grabbed me. Then I remembered that Trico would not be able to help me due to his fear of said glass. The game had previously taught me that there was no way Trico would get past these unless I could destroy them. I thought I was done for and sat back in my seat in disappointment, but then something magical happened. Trico made the jump. He came crashing through the glass and to my rescue. I quickly grabbed my controller and once again joined the fight. I don't know how he does it, but Ueda can pull on emotions I never even knew I had. He proves that games can be art, there's no doubt about it. I apologize for rambling so much, which you're totally not. But there's just so much to say about a series as impactful as this. Can I ask that you please keep me anonymous if you do decide to read out any of this? Also, I won't be offended if you don't read any of it. I enjoyed writing it. It brought back fond memories. I can't wait for your next podcast and, of course, the next Gen Design masterpiece. Keep up the great work. P.S. I cannot wait for Death Stranding. I've been following everything as a lifelong Kojima fan. Well, not to worry, my friend. I will be editing out any mentions of your name, which at the beginning, because I started just reading the letter, I did say your name, but I'll be editing it out, all instances of it, not to worry. And I also wanted to say I'm more than happy to hear anything you'd like to share with us about Death Stranding on that show, because that's wonderful to hear as well. So thank you both to Animal Clan 101 and to our anonymous writer for their wonderful stories about Fumito Ueda's games. And just as a reminder to our listeners, to yourself listening now, if you do have an experience, even if it isn't strictly about the Colossus of the week, we would love to hear from you. And then in our sort of messages together, obviously, if you contact me, sort of I'll be replying to you and such. You can let me know if you'd like your story read, either with including your name, as you know, our anonymous writer has sort of specified for me, or and another thing you can let me know is if you'd like it to be read on that particular week's show, or maybe to be kept for the show where a certain element of the story will be discussed. So too easy. Well, have a lovely rest of your day and listening to the rest of the episode, and let's jump back in.
His appearance, the whole of energy of all the colossi, actually really like it engenders pathos. Like you, you can't help it, especially, and this is again testament to the designers as well, and like this sort of strange masonry / architectural kind of way that their facial features are composed, but they're in a sense emotionless. Like they're meant to be simply just like as nature is, it's just this neutral expression. But just like how it's inevitable that we do, because we're emotional creatures, we ascribe emotion to even things that don't have any strict or definite facial expression, and all of them have this vacant intelligence to them, dim intelligence, I think Nick says in the book. But you're right. Nevertheless, we still feel like guilty from the very beginning. What did you think of that, Logan? Logan has left us. I'm kidding. That's okay. He was processing. He was having a moment of silence for the colossi.
Yeah.
Hold on. So I did zone out for it's getting late. Can you just repeat that a little bit?
That's okay.
You can cut this out when you
No,
actually.
I'm gonna keep it on. It's listeners need to know how much you put, like the dedication you put into this shit. Yeah,
that's not dedication.
It's a sign of your
It's
dedication.
the opposite
No.
of dedication.
How I asked this. How is your body naturally wanting to go to sleep? Which I'm gonna ask you if you gotta do. Like me and Naz can take it from here. Like for us, it's only 8 p.m.
I'm still good for now. I'll let y'all know if I
you're
need
a
to
legend.
duck out.
A little mini hand for Logan. I really don't.
Right.
I really don't take it for granted, man, for sure. So yeah, the question was, so how is the boss battle like characterized for you? And I think I sort of threw it after sort of Naz gave her riff about sort of the pathos, like feeling bad for the creature. I sort of decided to throw it to you to see if you had any thoughts on what the designers were able to accomplish with all of these creatures basically having these vacant expressions, and yet we ascribe just like guilt to doing what we do in a sense, even though we're being heroic in a way. But go for it.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, Val's is kind of cute. It makes sense that he was the mascot for the game. He's kind of got this big sort of nose thing going on.
It's adorable.
I know Nick says in the book that apparently Valis took them the longest to design, which makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I do think he is the worthiest mascot of the game. Obviously, the community, and I would consider Blue Point to be a part of that community, as they are really fans. The community has decided that Gaius is the new mascot now, and that is what it is. Gaius is, also obviously kind of cute in his own way, but really, I think Valis is more similar to how a lot of the other colossi are designed.
Yeah.
So I think he works better in that respect. And of course, he's the first one, so that's significant.
That is significant.
Yeah. As for the emotions that I felt when I was actually fighting him, Valis never really, especially like almost throughout my entire first incomplete playthrough of the game on the PS2, I wasn't really feeling like the whole dark, you shouldn't be doing this. These creatures didn't do anything. I wasn't feeling that aspect of it.
Okay, not that early. That's okay.
Yeah, which I and I do kind of wonder if maybe that fact of having been able to play through a lot of the game without feeling that has somewhat contributed to how much more sympathetic towards Wander I tend to be.
It just means you have no empathy.
Yeah, and I
I'm kidding, dude. You have
I do really want to have Sam on, because I know in his video on Shadow of the Colossus he goes really heavy on that whole Wander is kind of a bad guy aspect, and I'm really interested to talk to him and talk about that. But
Yeah.
so
And
yeah,
I was
for
joking before, by the
Valis,
way. You definitely have
um,
empathy. It's all good.
no, of course I know.
Yeah.
But no, certainly once I did realize that Darsk aspect, I remember Valis kind of was the one I thought back to and went, oh, he seemed like a nice guy. I feel kind of bad about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
He
that
just
was,
wants to hang
I
out.
don't remember. There was definitely like a very specific moment where like that aspect of the game kind of dawned on me. Like I don't remember exactly when that was. If it was before I played on the PS3, but there was definitely this point where I was like, that probably hurts being a colossi and having this guy stab you in your weak point and take your life force out. That's
Yeah.
probably not very fun.
Not a fun
Um,
time. Not a good Wednesday.
yeah, I just have this memory of like maybe like a 14-year-old me like frowning, thinking of like Valis getting hurt,
Yeah.
and being like, well, now I see what people are talking about with this whole double layered story thing that they say. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, that's basically how it was for me.
That's cool.
But yeah, I mean, Valis is like I said, he really should be the mascot for the game, in my opinion.
Definitely. Yeah, and I think it makes sense that they took the longest to design them for sure. There you go. So I think we've all of us had our riff on sort of how the battle was characterized, correct? I think so. Yeah.
We got a fair amount of discussion out of that. So
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, it ended up again this beautiful. Again, that was sort of my thinking was to have headings and be like, oh, talk about the formal qualities, talk about the symbolic qualities, all that. But this is ended up being really really beautiful. So big ups to user TG Mana. Awesome. And yeah, get in touch. We'll probably have you on the show at one point.
Executive producer of the
Yes.
Fumito Ueda podcast.
That's right. Yes, exactly. So you have been, and this person is probably just like, who knows if they'll even listen, but we'll see. If you do listen, I will be obviously sending, just because I just want to do right by this person and just send them like the episode link and with like timestamp and everything, just to let them know. Because yeah, it's just really beautifully phrased. So the last thing we have here is any specific characteristic of the Colossi. So I interpret this as minutia. So I have minutia for just like life. There are certain things, and I want to actually probably get one from each of you. I'm a sort of minutia collector. And if you don't know what minutia is, it's just the tiny little things, little flourishes. Something you can maybe, if you have the concept of wabi sabi, it's the thing that makes the thing either imperfect or intriguing, or just that you connect with. So for me, my main minutia in life is like seeing a light at night when it's raining, and it's basically like a lamplight illuminating a tree, but it has to be those like 4 or 5 conditions, and it's just like it weirdly makes this kind of beautiful kind of shelter type thing. So it's like if you saw Amelie, like she has the whole thing is dedicated to like she's like people like popping bubble wrap and stuff, and like putting their hands in like rice or whatever. There's little things in life.
Wait, this is like someone on the internet that you're talking about?
So yeah, Amelie. No, Amelie's the film. It's Naz. You remember that film, Amelie?
Oh, Amelie the movie. Right.
Oh yeah.
No,
Bad.
I thought you said something else. Yeah.
That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
So so that's my thing. So for me, my minutia that I took away from Valis was this. It's very very just. It's like I'm just thinking of it now. Is like when you kill him. He's gripping his, like, I'm again reminded of Never Ending Story. There's that very emotional scene where the rock biter is talking about how he let his friend slip from his hands, and he's like, but my hands are so strong, I thought I'd be able to hold on to them, but the nothing took them away from me. And he's like, they look like strong hands, don't they? And it's like super heartbreaking, because he's literally like a guy made of rock and stuff. And so when I saw Valis, who is like that's his club, that's his, again, he has this again kind of cutish kind of aspect, kind of reminds me of like a kid walking around like a sandpit with like his like a little shovel, like he's just there, he's just chilling. And then when you see the minutia that like really got to me was when you see his club just fall out of his hand as he's just falling, and I was like, oh shit, like I've killed this creature. So that was my little takeaway there. So
it was always memorable to me how when he falls, his body falls and then his hand like foops down after. That was always very memorable to me, and you see the ground around it kind of crack up with that.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, the ground cracking again, another great miniature there for sure. So yeah, and Naz, what was anything like a particular characteristic of the Colossi, either in the encounter or the design?
I honestly think you guys have it covered. I mean, just with his visual design, as you said, he's kind of innocent looking. He's sort of almost as a childlike, or kind of like an ape, or something like that. That sort of look in his design. So
I think
but yeah, I think you guys have that covered.
I think for
Yeah,
maximum.
can we
Oh yeah, go ahead, Logan.
sorry. I was wondering, I think something that might be cool is to maybe start these off, and we didn't get to do it this point,
Yep.
with some of the facts, about Valis. I don't know if you were planning on
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
something
I've
like
got the
this, but,
wiki. I've got the wiki open here. Yeah, that's
okay. Yeah, then definitely, go down to that trivia section, read
Oh
on the info
yeah,
box.
you are okay. Clairvoyance continues. I literally have the trivia section. It's like you're here in like weird ghost form, dude. Seriously, that's amazing.
Great.
So like mines for sure. So you've got the trivia obviously from teamico.wiki.com. Why not? Let's get this for posterity on whatever these, like in the future these things will be recorded onto. In Death Clock they record onto water, so maybe these will just be instead of MP3s. Yeah. So I'll take the first one. So Valis is the only Colossus that is shown to have any form of wildlife near it, as there are several hawks continuously circling around its head. So you take the next one, man.
Yeah, well, I think we all know this, that he's one of the only three that wields a weapon, with, of course, Gaius number 3 and Argus number 15, the mean man himself.
Yes.
Yeah, and Valis's weapon is obviously not even sword-like, it's a hammer, which is, the only weapon like that any of them wield.
That's right. Valis also stands at roughly 70 feet or 21 meters tall, making it the fourth shortest of all the colossi. It shares physical similarities with both Barba and Argus.
Yeah, they mean to say Barba. Yeah. The Minotaur Bros.
That's right. Yeah, the three. Naz, can you see all three of these guys just in like a Cadillac on the way to Vegas, like the three Minotaur Bros?
Yeah, I mean that's what the next bit of trivia actually says, is that Valis was called Minotaur A, I believe, in Dev, and Barba was Minotaur B, and Argus was Minotaur C.
That's it. That's cool. So after that, we have Valis is the most centrally located out of all the colossi. It sounds like a tour guide. Well, we have the most centrally located colossi for you. If you'd like to stop by the what is it, the souvenir shop. Anyway, with the absolute center of the Forbidden Lands map being located in the northwestern corner of the Autumn Forest intersection, and then it goes into a couple of different like sections, as in like E5,
really,
E4.
like
very in depth.
That's a wiki for you.
Yeah, here is the precise geographical location according to the longitude and latitude of where you may find this colossus. Yeah, it sounded like Jack Black. You take the next one, buddy.
The Valis and Gaius are the only colossi with major sigils on their arms, but those are both only in hard mode.
That's right. Argus and Malus come close, but they have minor sigils on their arms, not major ones. So stabbing Valis in the back of its leg twice will trigger the cutscene where it falls over, and the music switches to the opened way, which is super dramatic and beautiful. If the player only stabs Valis in the leg once, and it is quick enough, they can climb up Valis and slay it with the music track Grotesque Figures still playing. So
that surprised me in the remake. I didn't remember that from the original. If you stab him once, he does go down on the one knee. But it's not fancy if you stab him twice, or it might be if you give him like a big stab too. Then like you'll actually get like a different angle where he falls down and then the music changes. That surprised me.
Yeah, crazy. Okay, so we'll just check to see if, who knows, Naz might be following along. Are you on the wiki by any chance for Valis if you do a quick Google?
I'll let you guys.
All right.
The happy listener.
Yay! By the way, Naz, are you having fun? Is this you get?
Yeah. That's awesome.
Okay, cool. I dig it. So our last one is Valis has received. Actually, what am I doing? This is your one, Logan. Go. Yeah. I was about to steal it.
I was wondering about this. Is like, has he who's giving Valis criticism?
I know.
Supposedly due to the platforms on its backside. It's unrealistically convenient for platforms to be built on its back so that it can ultimately be climbed and felled. Now, obviously, this is something that I have thought of. Actually, we should have probably mentioned these during the discussion. That he does have these kind of, I call them tutorial platforms, basically what they are.
Yeah.
And it is really kind of a feature that is sort of, even with guys as like underpants or whatever you want to call them that you can stand on. Like that seems kind of biological, but like Valve's platforms really don't seem biological. I wouldn't say that's a complaint. I would just say that is perhaps an instance of obvious game design, which is maybe not something you usually see in an Ueda game, but it is what it is.
Yeah, the thread that I have to pull to kind of have that a little bit again. I don't derive. I'm not out there to take down anyone's thoughts. And again, people, as long as you're expressing yourself in a civil way, like all thoughts and opinions are valid to me. But what I would sort of say to kind of gently pull at the thread of that to unravel that is that the very I would be able to let that slide if literally these creatures. Oh, we have. That's okay. That's all good. Yeah, we have.
Sounded like it's like a trombone for a second there.
That's crazy.
Like
Well,
Louis Armstrong.
Naz has to get her practice in when she can. Okay, we can't interfere with her band. Can't interfere with her band practice. I mean, if they're just there waiting, they're just like, "Come on, Naz, we're trying to get the symphony together." But yeah, I figured I'd mention. So yeah, what kind of unravels that for me, that sort of complaint, so, as it were, is that literally in every way, like they're designed to look like buildings. Like that criticism wouldn't hold weight if it was like a, let's just say, like a giant cat, and the cat had this like tumorescent protrusion that looked exactly like a platform. I'd be like, you know what, that doesn't fit with the design of a cat. I don't know many cats that have platforms grafted to their back. It's not realistic. And number one. Number two, what's your basis for realisticness being here? Do you have you been to the Forbidden Lands? Shut up. Sorry. That's me getting a bit aggressive. Take your Ritalin, man.
The wiki editor does attempt to explain it.
Yes.
Something about
architectural.
It makes sense that their design would be somewhat flawed and consequently convenient. I don't know. It doesn't really. I don't know.
Okay, that's cool.
There doesn't need to be a justification for it, really.
Yeah. The bow that I'll sort of tie off on this as we sort of round out the trivia, or the facts rather, is that for me, again, this was really was to serve, and I'll build on Naz's point about this childlike aspect, and like the platforms again, and I'll agree with both of you really, is that platforms and having that tutorial aspect, there's an aspect of like getting started and just like and that sort of childlike aspect kind of feeds into that for me, that it would have this simple design, this simple and very understandable design, as we grow, we get like our bodies become more complex, we develop more curves, we develop longer bones and all this stuff, but when we're little, when we're a little more baby-like, we have more simpler features, and that's why they say like all babies look the same, in one parlance. Some babies are freaks of nature. No, I'm kidding. All babies are lovely. All babies are lovely. Oh no, I'm terrible. Come on, we all have to admit, even parents would admit that some babies are like straight up ugly.
Yeah.
Just saying. Oh dear. Okay, we've lost all the mothers listening to this show. That's it.
Yeah.
Oh no. But yeah, so that's kind of how it sort of fits thematically for me, is that, simplicity, getting started, simple to understand, childlike creature, I get it, so I sort of understand, and that kind of makes sense to me. Yeah, so that kind of wraps those facts out. Was there anything else you wanted to kind of cover, either from, I kind of have to read this because it's so beautifully written, just even though we sort of discussed him being felled, but I need to have to, I think I'd read this from Nick's book. So, as I crest the top of the cliff, next to a thin cluster of trees, rocks and bushes, from somewhere to my right comes an echoing bellow and a series of earth-shaking stomps. Massive hoofed feet fill my vision as they tromp by, attached to legs like mossy oaks, and a huge armored hand swings low to the ground. The behemoth walks past me, trees rattling, and a black cloud of dust kicking up in its wake, my controller rumbling with each monstrous step. So if you get rid of the my controller rumbling with each monstrous step, you just extract that. That's a piece of poetry right there. As I crest atop the cliff next to a thin cluster of trees. It sounds like W.B. Yeats, damn it. Sounds like freaking poetry.
Burning with sunlight.
Yeah. Damn. So there you go. So that's kind of my wrap up. We're coming up to the 2 hours, guys. So I'm happy to start tailing off.
Really? Holy
Yeah,
cow.
I know. When you're having fun, hey?
Yeah.
I dig it. So, you know what, Naz? We need to probably get you back on another episode. Hey.
Yeah.
I would really like to just talk to you about you and your work.
Yeah, that's definitely what
you
I'm
know,
thinking.
and just have like the Naz interview. I think would be very cool.
Would love that, yeah. But it's obviously all depends on what we're able to do with this one here. Would you like to, Logan? Were you sort of referencing having that sort of now, if you had the time, if you wanted to join us for that one, Logan, or would you like to jump on the next one, Naz?
Yeah.
Whatever works for you guys.
Whatever works for you guys. Okay, so in that case, I'm happy to continue. However, I want to throw it to Logan to see if you're able to. Again,
I guess it just depends how long. I'm definitely getting pretty knackered, you might say.
That's all good.
You're welcome to go to bed, and we can keep going.
That's right.
Then I will look forward to hearing you talk about your craft if that's what you want to do.
Fantastic. We'll see how things wrap up.
I'm glad we got so much out of Alice.
Absolutely.
Sorry if I was a little, if I sound a little critical this episode. Or
no, I loved it.
Things out.
Also, a little unintentional nomenclature trivia there. So the way that you pronounced "out of Alice," it sounded like one of its nicknames could be Alice because it's like Valis. Like that, Valis in Wonderland. I want to see that spin-off.
Oh boy,
that's a very
fun fan art.
You had a lot of Valis criticism today. Valid, get it? Valid, get it? Hey, I need to retire.
I'll leave on that. Yeah.
I'm kidding, Logan.
I'm glad I could. Yeah, I'm glad I can make it. Nice talking to you, Naz, and like I said, Albert, I will see you next week.
I'll see you next week. It's always a pleasure, Logan. You're the greatest. Thanks, buddy.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Take it easy.
Bye.
Naz, it has been an hour and a bit. I actually wanted to, because it's, you know what, now that he's I think he may still be on the air or anything, but I did get the impression that he wanted to actually have a few questions with yourself there about your work. I just need to explore this now because it is all about your availability and whatever's most convenient to you. Would you be happy jumping in with us next week to sort of dive fully deep, like full on into like a proper interview, or how does that work for you?
That sounds pretty cool. What day? Because I know this isn't your normal recording day.
That's right. We actually go on the weekends usually. So on we actually do Saturdays. So that would be around about 10 a.m. and that's when it sort of suits. So 10 a.m. on Saturdays. Is that out of the question for you?
It really just depends on what I'm doing. So that wouldn't be this Saturday. It'd be the Saturday
after. Of course, the one after. Yeah. Again, we take our time.
So what I'll probably get you to do, whether you want to add me on Facebook or something,
sure.
or you can just message me through Instagram or whatever.
Yeah, we'll get the Facebook happening. Yeah, Instagram it's great, but yeah, I'll send that one through on the Facebook.
Yeah, it's a bit hard because you don't really get notifications through Instagram. So I forget about it sometimes. So,
I do. Okay.
But what we might do, if you want to get me on next time, is shoot me a message. After this weekend,
will do.
Sort of during the week, and I'll just double check what I'm doing on the weekend because I'm not quite sure that far in advance what I'm doing. So,
absolutely, and we definitely don't want to cut into weekend plans and such. So again, and if you have any of them that do pop up, totally let us know. It's totally fine. Because again, as Logan and you heard it happening like live on the air, so to speak, is that like once we sort of vibe with someone, it's like, hey, like literally doors open, like this is your home.
Yeah.
So feel free to join at any time.
Yeah, and I think it might be better if we sort of break it up rather than try and squish everything in at the end, sort of. So
that's right, and that didn't have to happen. Like we could have had crazy personality clashes. You could have been some frou-frou, totally pretentious, like scarf flopping artist who was like, "Oh, I can't believe," but you're actually super grounded and really kindred and awesome. So, and it was a great pleasure having meeting you today, and looking forward to continuing our chats.
Yeah, awesome. No, I've been on some other podcasts before, and you see some people will listen to some other guests that they have on and are quite difficult, and some of them, they might just you'll ask them a question and they'll say one word in response and that's it, and they're very blunt.
Oh goodness, tell me about it.
whereas I quite like to ramble. So.
Yay, a fellow. Okay, awkward over the Skype rambler high five because we're both ramblers.
Yeah.
Boom. There you go. Awesome. Well, I'll tail off into the end of the show because we'd like to have you all the way through to the end of the show. So, to close the episode off, listeners, Fumito Ueda podcast is part of the Interactive Artistry Podcast Network. You can find us on basically all the outlets as just Fumito Ueda podcast or Fumito Ueda. So Instagram, Facebook, it's all, as soon as you type those 3 words, you'll find us pretty easily. And where can the listeners find yourself, Naz?
I'm on pretty much every social media as Nazi Goreng, NAZEGORENG. So I'm on Twitter, Tumblr, DeviantArt, Instagram, and then Facebook is Nazi Goreng Crafts as one word. So
beautiful,
yeah,
fantastic.
Just type my name into Google, you'll pretty much find me straight away.
Lovely. And is goreng any reference at all to like the noodles, like the goreng noodles?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. All right. I feel.
You remember the Telstra advertisement with the Great Wall of China?
I dig that. That's an inside reference for like Australians. Fantastic.
Yeah,
even though what's like I'm an imposter because I know Telstra, but I don't know that particular commercial, so I'll have to look it up. But you remember the Not Happy Jan commercial, right?
Jan? Where's our ad in the Yellow Pages directory?
Keep calm. Count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 8, 9, 10.
Not happy, Jan!
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I got one. Yeah, I got one in. A little obscure Australian reference. But there you go. So yeah, listeners, it was a pleasure having you listen. Obviously, everyone listening to us today. And then once again, I had to reiterate my, it was a great pleasure and an honor and a privilege to have you on the show, Naz, and looking forward to having you on for future episodes as well.
Awesome.
Fantastic. Take it easy, everyone, and have a lovely upcoming week. We'll catch you on the next one. Yay! Huzzah!
Awesome.
Terrific. Awesome. Well, I'll get this one edited up fairly quickly, and I'll post you the link. So that's super shareable on all of. Yeah, just feel free to share that around. And
do you want to add me on Facebook now? Or
yeah,
so
let's make this happen. Let's do this. Amazing. Also, I figured I'd mention, because I do end up editing this. Was there anything throughout the show that you wanted me to edit out or anything like that?
Oh, not really.
Yeah.
That's all good.
Okay.
I'm not an expert like you guys are, so I hope you won't judge me too harshly for
You're fine.
not knowing it as well as you. Yeah.
You are. That's. Oh, you know what? Because we haven't been called experts before, I will bottle that. I'll just like put that in like a satchel of appreciation and just feel like, oh, someone actually called us experts, even though we're very much not. We're
definitely more of the casual player that just plays the basic game and doesn't go back for all the secret goodies and hard modes and stuff like that.
That's cool. I figured I'd mention it here. So both of my sisters are pretty like they love their cosplay, right? They're well into it. Mm-hmm. And so I'll be definitely sharing stuff and they have their networks too. So my girlfriend actually, she does like design, I figured I'd mention this too. She sort of does fashion design as well. So we're all super into And my
your sister's younger or older?
I have one older, one younger, and the younger one does plushies as well. Nothing on the level of I just can't get over in your profile. You've got the now here's my brony crit on the line. Brony crit is on the line. That is not Applejack. That is not Fluttershy. That is, oh my god, I failed. I fail. I'm not a brony. Who is that? The rainbow one. Who is she?
Rainbow Dash.
Rainbow Dash. See, I got half of the name and I get 0 point. I get 0 points. That's okay.
It's funny. My boyfriend's not a brony, but he sort of makes a game of trying to guess their names all the time. So it's similar. It's like this one has apples on its bum. It's Applejack. And
Applejack.
Like,
I'm. If we. I mean, you remember the whole Friends thing? It's like, are you a Chandler? Are you a Monica? All that. I'm definitely a Fluttershy myself, personally. Just saying. Okay, I'm on that Facebook though. Actually, you know what? Because I'll be there. Yeah, actually, if you want to edit, I'll edit this out. Because again, you don't want people just like, oh, I know you're a Facebook player, so I'll edit this out. But totally. So, but yeah, actually, you know what? This is going to be easiest. If you're on Facebook, just Google Albert Kesser. Like you'll find. Sorry, just put it in the Facebook now, ALBERT, and then CHESSA. And you know what? I'll keep this in because again, listeners, it's fine. Like, add me. It's totally cool. Totally G. I'm good with that. And you should see 2 profiles. One is like me there, Canberra, Australia, all that. And then you'll see a page which is just my artist page where I'm all got my like moody face, all that promo stuff that I did for my abstract art, which I still do, but we'll touch on that later on your upcoming second episode of Fumito Ueda podcast. There you go. You have a friend in us, and you have a podcast home with us. Cool. All right. Well, salutes to you. Big ups to what does boyfriend do anything kind of like super like creative and stuff?
No, he's pretty much the opposite to me. He's a manager at a hardware store. I'm sure as an Australian, you will know which hardware store I'm talking about.
Yes, I certainly do. That's fantastic. Cool. Well, big ups to him for sure. Oh, actually, you know what? I just got that connection because he can hook you up with materials.
Yeah, it's good for all that sort of more hard materials when I'm building big things. So
that's it. Similarly,
if we're doing operations.
Similarly, Ray, because she does this emotional intelligence work. I actually had her on the show a few times. My girlfriend, we talk about just like basically psychologically profiling some of these characters, and like as a little tease. So God of War, started out as I'm sure you know, like super violent, super like macho male fantasy power fulfillment crap.
Ultimate,
which again served its purpose for a while, but so it really embodies like the maturation of the medium now, because we have this story now about him and his son, and like how he's essentially been sort of like pushing the responsibility of stepping up to the role of fatherhood away, and the sort of confusion that can happen that we can all relate to, of like thinking our fathers hate us when they may themselves be afraid of like being able to get close or articulate themselves. So like so it's cool to know that like and that's sort of how she jumped on. So like partners helping each other, yay.
I mean, he's definitely more skilled in the sort of management and taking care of people and conflict and stuff like that. So
appreciate it. Well, if he ever wants to jump on the show, he's more than welcome to.
Cool.
Awesome.
He'd have no idea what we're talking about, but I'm sure he'd chime in.
That would be actually super entertaining. I reckon it'd be so good.
It'd be funny to get sort of a playthrough with like a first person, like first viewing sort of feedback sort of thing.
I'm serious. We could totally make it happen. Okay, Naz, have a fantastic rest of the night. We'll catch up with you on the next Saturday.
Yep, cool. Just send me a message through the week and we'll just make sure that everything's cool.
Too easy. Have a really good night. Good night.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Hello, how we doing?
Hey.
Fantastic. So we have Logan on the line, and we have shall I just call you Naz?
Yeah, that's fine.
Fantastic. Oh, it's so cool. Hey, I've got my Logan here. I've got all my awesome co-hosts from around the world. But I do love having an Aussie on the show. So cool.
So just got one other Aussie with me, or
I wanted to ask, because I read when you said this, and then I kind of forgot about it until now. This thing where you wanted us to record our own voices. What was the program or whatever that you wanted?
That's okay. First of all, a little shout out to your complete and kind of spooky clairvoyance, because I was literally that was the next thing out of my mouth. So Logan is officially, you know how Naz, you know how the America, they're ahead of us or whatever. Like he's actually like proper clairvoyant. Actually, I know, too easy. Yes, if that's possible. But then again, you know, it's about what Naz is able to do as well. So that's kind of what Naz, I figured I'd mention. We're sort of moving towards recording our tracks independently, and then you just send me the MP3 just through a Google Drive drop. It's the like super easiest thing, and then are you able to do that?
What program do you guys use
Oh,
to
just
do that?
Yeah, that's my
exactly.
question,
Oh,
'cause I
sorry,
don't
I
know
forgot
what
to
your
mention.
preferred
So I
method
figured,
is.
so if you guys have like your mics all hooked up to Skype, it's for me a simple matter of opening up QuickTime and I just select the new recording, which is like super.
Oh, that's easy. Yeah.
Yeah. So Naz, are you on a Mac by any chance?
I am. Yeah.
Fantastic. So you just go.
No,
If you hit.
I'm on PC.
Oh, that's okay. So I'll quickly walk Naz through it. So you go Command Space, just type Quick. It'll come up QuickTime Play. I'm actually doing the exact same thing now. And now
Just
I'm.
one thing quickly. I've got my earphones plugged in, but I think that my computer is still using my computer mic for the Skype call. Do you know how to make it force it to use my headphones?
Sure. So what you want to do is you just go to the sound menu. This is like Apple Support Podcast now. I love it. That's so good. So what and so also for Logan yourself, it would just basically just be your PC a media player. It should enable you to record an audio like a voice memo. Yeah, and I know like the transitional thing is a little bit like once we've got it super streamlined, and I've actually got like a fact sheet I can send all of our guests. But Naz, you're joining us just as we're sort of starting to we've gotten on our feet. We're just like a ponderous colossus, you could say. We're just getting moving. With,
Okay,
there was a
There
was a I listened to a little bit of the Pacific Rim podcast, not that much.
Oh yeah.
And there was a commenter who is not too happy with all the variety on the channel, but
yeah, I know, and exactly, we're still experimenting with that one. I think, and actually, recently I've decided to switch that format up. So first of all, the music is gonna, it's like, actually, here's a little shout out to Logan because we've had very little of any kind of people saying like, oh, change this, change that. So, so far, Logan is my lucky charm. This show's started pretty nicely. But I'll take a few. I'm gonna take all that feedback on for episode 2 onwards on Pacific Rim. Naz, do you enjoy Pacific Rim?
I actually have never watched Pacific Rim.
Oh, you should.
Pacific Rim virgin.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Then you must. You must have your first experience with this film. It's beautiful, and if anything,
I saw one of the films. It must have been one of the newer ones. It was on telly the other day, and I caught the end half of it, but I didn't understand what was going on.
No, that's
so I just watched it. The visuals were just awesome, and I was like, "This is cool."
Yeah.
I have no idea what's going on.
All you need to know. Yeah. No. Actually, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, you go.
Yeah. All you need to know is that so I as a like mini maybe like elevator thing is just so Guillermo del Toro directed Pan's Labyrinth, the Hellboy films, and then he swept the Oscars actually recently with The Shape of Water. Yeah. Oh yeah, so beautifully. Logan, did you end up seeing Shape of Water?
Yeah, I saw it a while ago.
Oh yeah. Oh, look at this guy. He's got that movie pass happening.
I mean, yeah, I've seen every Best Picture nominee this year. So
okay, all right, okay. Look at this guy. Logan is also the master of the humble brag. Is lovely. It's fantastic. But no. But in all seriousness, I'm hella envious of you, Logan, because you guys, Naz, do you know that the guys in the US they have a movie pass? It's like Netflix for movies. It's so good. As in, like,
actually go into the theater.
Actually, Logan, tell us what Movie Pass is, and also,
sure.
Go ahead, go.
Movie Pass is you pay about $10 a month, and you can see one free movie a day at pretty much any theater. Some theaters choose not to participate, but it's the vast majority of theaters in the U.S. And you just kind of get one free movie a day. The only caveat is that you have to be at the theater. In order to get your ticket, which basically means that if you want to see a super popular movie at a theater where you pick the seats that you reserve, then you want to go there a few hours before the showing to just get that ticket, pick your seat, then come back when the actor's showing is. But honestly, that's really not much of a caveat. It's so great, and it's just you see 2 movies a month, and it's already paid for itself because it's only $10 a month.
That's incredible.
The price of a ticket
here in Australia, movies are just, I don't know about you guys, but it's just outrageously expensive.
It's so expensive.
It's probably like to go to the movies and get a drink and a popcorn probably cost you like $30.
Oh,
yeah, the concessions are always ridiculous.
Oh, tell me
Yeah.
about it, Naz. Yeah, for sure. You know
Mm.
what? Just because I'm so like super grateful for both of your time and respectful of your time. Let us crack on. So and then we
Yeah,
can
I'm
dive
trying
into.
to figure out
That's okay.
how to record on my
Yeah.
Windows Media Player here.
If it's too much of a
Or
hassle, we'll play around just for the next minute or two. If we can't figure it out, which is basically for me, I've been recording. I'm seeing 4:35, 4:36. I've been recording for 4 minutes and 40 seconds on the QuickTime player.
okay.
So Naz, have you managed to just? Oh yeah, sorry. I was in the middle of the tutorial as in explaining. So if you go to if you just the reason I say Command Space is because it's the easiest way to find things instead of going into menu. So on your Mac, you just go Command Space. It'll bring up Spotlight. And you just type sound.
Yeah.
And it should bring up the sound menu in system preferences. Yeah.
Spotlight. Wait a sec. System preferences. Sound.
Yeah. And so then it should have your different options there. So the first one will probably be internal microphone, which is built in, and then for me it's got my mic, which is the Microsoft LifeChat LX6000 or whatever, my cheap little headphones that I'm wearing. But we'll all upgrade soon enough as well. When the Patreon starts taking off, I'll send Logan a nice shiny new mic. It'll be really great.
Just opening system preferences.
Okay.
Mac is being slow, so
that's okay. I will send it positive Mac vibes.
I have this app open that's just called Voice Recorder.
Okay.
It does appear to be recording my voice. I hope it's a good quality.
That's cool.
Let me see if I can test it.
Yeah, test it and see if maybe just start it, then stop it, and see if an MP3 is generated somewhere. And for both of you, if in the next minute or two we can figure out how to actually generate the MP3 of each of our individual tracks, we'll go ahead with that. If not, in the next 3 minutes, we'll just from the moment I joined the call, it's been my baseline safety net recording, which is the Skype recording itself. Is I'll always have that as a safety net, but that's kind of what we're trying to do. And Naz, I really appreciate, because you didn't know about this, and I really appreciate you your patience.
No, that's all good, as long as you can tell me what to do.
Of course. So okay, so did you make your way to system in sound and system preferences?
It's just I had to just shut it down and reopen it.
Oh, that's
so I'll just manually go back and find it. Sound.
Too easy.
All right, generic USB audio device. That's what I want to click.
It needs to believe in itself more. I don't think it should think of itself more highly. I mean, nothing is generic. Come on, what is that? Why is the device treating itself that way? Come on, every device is special. Nothing's generic. Logan, do you like my puns? Am I good on my pun game, or am I out of the?
Is there a pun there?
Oh no! As in, I started anthropomorphizing an external input device. I get nothing. I get no points for that one. That's terrible.
No, but it wasn't really exactly a pun. It was just kind of more of a little bit.
That's also Logan is also really good at the very gentle takedown. So it's that was pretty. It was pretty horrible, man.
I seem to be coming off as very critical.
No,
it's not my intention.
I just really appreciate it, man. Love you, man. Awesome. So how are we doing? So did you end up being able to?
I've gone into input and output and selected the generic USB audio device, which is my wonderfully branded earphones, but it's still outputting out of my computer.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, one thing you can do is actually, Naz, if you go on the audio recording itself, there should be next to the because I'm assuming it's popped up like a floating thing, right? Yeah. So there's that little kind of down symbol right next to the stop, and actually it gives you a couple of options. It actually tells you what's recording. So I think there should be something within. Logan, how do you think we're doing? Do you reckon we can get this sorted within the next 3 minutes, or shall we just rely on the?
No. I think you should go for it. I think this voice recording thing I found that comes with Windows should do fine. I managed to. It does save it as a file, so just hopefully the file is good. It's good quality. It's not
okay. All right, that's Logan sorted.
What I can do is I actually have a laptop as well, a Windows laptop that might just automatically accept the earphones. So if you can give me 2 seconds, I can run and grab that, and then I'll
perfect.
join back in. I'll be back in a sec.
Awesome, no troubles.
Alrighty.
Awesome. Hey, Logan, have you checked out some of Naz's work on her Instagram?
No, yeah, link me to it now because I did take a look at it.
I'll send it now.
A while ago, when you first said that she was going to be on.
You're not gonna believe this, dude. It's on another level.
I recall it being cool.
Yeah. So I'll send you the video that made me like instantly have to just like, oh my gosh, contact this person and get them on the show for sure. So it's this little mini video, and it just feels like straight up like there's a trico in her house kind of thing. It's that real. So I'll just copy the link.
Yeah, I mean it's really awesome how many people create their own tricos. There's a lot of people that do. It's very cool.
But Naz is like beyond. It's really like on another level. So I've just sent that to you in the Skype. Too easy. And you know what else, Logan, I'm gonna bring up that interview so that we can dive into that later. Again, if you need to dash off, that's totally fine.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
We'll see how we go. And what I'll also do is bring up Sutner's book, and we're gonna read the Valis chapter. So
yes, which I have done. So
fantastic, incredible. Too easy. How you doing, Naz? Oh, she's probably still away. How was your week, man?
It's been pretty good. Pretty chill week for me. I worked on a short film, which I guess right now is, man, time just kind of fly, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the weekend before last. I worked on a short film, which was nice. Pretty easy shoot.
Okay.
And we didn't record. Yeah, well, that was. Right. It was, it was like you were going to record and then I wasn't there, but then I think you also ended up not recording an episode of this.
That's right. Yeah. It's been pretty hectic. Yeah. So I've actually, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. And then came back, and then it was kind of just waiting for the Oscars.
Nice.
I went to a big Oscar party, which is very nice. Kind of the first actual Oscar party that I've been to. I've been to a couple where people at my college, or the college I did go to, kind of held them, but this one was actually at a person's house, which is nice.
Nice.
And I bought some beers, and we had some good dinner the dude made. He made some meatballs for everybody.
Dude, you need meatballs.
The Oscars.
So good. Meatballs and Oscars. That sounds like a fantastic tradition.
And then this whole week I've been playing Resident Evil Revelations 2, which has been fun.
Oh, cool. Nice.
Yeah, so
that's really good. So I figured I'd mention to you, Logan. So in the next couple of weeks, we're going to be actually wrapping up our sort of minute by minute on the Death Stranding podcast.
Okay.
Yeah, we're hoping to have Robin Gaming on for the finale because that would be great. He just reached 100,000 subs. He's expressed interest for sure in jumping on, so he's covered a whole bunch of games. And so what I was going to ask is if you wanted to, because you mentioned wanting to be on the David Lynch.
Mm-hmm.
We're sort of torn on which director to sort of tackle for our first sort of off-season episode of, like, it's just, the series is called Influences in Film, and with Death Stranding. And I think what would be really cool is to just get the David Lynch stuff out of the way, because the thing that came out right before Death Stranding was the Silent Hills, which is so Lynchian it's not even funny, Yeah. So,
certainly with the obviously the biggest the fetus would be the biggest
Eraserhead.
That I can think of.
Absolutely. That's going to be a great deep dive to do.
Yeah, just let me know when you're doing the episode, and if I can make it, then I will make it.
Sounds good. Now it's just let me know that she is booting up. Yeah. So
I'm looking at those. There's a video on my recommended on YouTube right now that says Pacific Rim Uprising looks like trash, and they have a little Photoshop of John Boyega in it.
I know. I really hated that. I saw that and I was like, I've since tried to kind of grow a bit of a thick skin for that sort of thing. But yeah, like, there's such a it's divisive for now, but here's the thing. So I spoke with Luke from Premiere Quest. He was on the first episode, obviously, and he recently was able to speak with Stephen DeKnight, so the director of Pacific Rim, which is really cool. So a couple degrees from that. that sort of sphere of where the sort of activity's at, and it apparently went really well. He asked actually a few Luke asked a few questions on behalf of us, so we've officially been mentioned in that in that interview with the director, so which gives us a bit of exposure. So some cool things happening all around, and oh, actually, now it's just message. It wants me to install the new version of Skype. Let me give this another go. What do you, Lugan? I think it's probably time to fall back on the.
Maybe, yeah. If you think that's right.
Hey guys.
Okay, actually, here she is. Let's give it one more go. So go, Naz.
Yeah, unfortunately, it wants me to. I think it wants me to upgrade Skype, so I don't know if we have time.
No,
to do that.
That's okay.
Yeah.
So Logan, it's okay. Stand down, soldier. You can turn off the quick. Sorry, your recorder. But that's good to know that you can record. Yep.
I'm gonna do it anyway, just in case.
Oh no, you know why? It's because what you'll end up doing is creating this file that I basically can't use. This is nothing to guilt you, Naz. It's all good. Because it only works if all three people. It's like a seance. It only works if we're all holding hands. Sorry.
Sorry, I can't be of more help.
That's okay. We can't bring back our dead relatives thanks to you, Naz. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's all good. The ritual is incomplete. So yeah, it's okay. Logan, feel free to jump off. We'll go with the main recording now.
Okay.
You're a legend. Cause come on, I don't want to take up your precious hard drive real estate. Come on, honestly. Fantastic.
Can you guys hear any of your voices back from my computer, or is
no,
fine?
I can hear you.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Yep, not getting any what's the word called?
Like a feedback or something, or echo.
Yeah.
Echo. Yeah. Too easy. Okay. Well, I will just bring up my show notes and we can get started. Awesome. And yeah, so I figured I'd let you know while you're away now, as I did a bit of talking sugar of your practice and your sort of craft that you do. I was like, it's like there's a freaking trigger in the house. It's not a sculpture. It's like it's right there.
It's really something. We'll obviously get into it on the show.
That's right. So let me quickly. Now I am the one delaying everyone. Okay. Interactive artistry. Fumito Ueda. Okay. And 3. And 2. And 1.
Thank you.